I can't hear you. That's it. Thank you. Yeah.
The Tuesday, August 26, 2025 meeting of the Flemington Planning Board, the Zoning Board of Adjustment. And this in-person and virtual meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. Both adequate and electronic notice of this in-person and virtual meeting has been provided by way of publication in the Huntingdon County Democrat and Courier News newspapers on or about January 23rd, 2025 and January 19th, 2025. In addition, notice of the meeting was posted on the door of the Borough of Flemington Municipal Building located at 38 Park Avenue and any handicapped accessible entrances thereto. Posted on the municipal website, provided to the municipal clerk and distributed to all persons if any requesting copies of the same. This meeting is being recorded with both audio and video and may be rebroadcast. This meeting is a judicial proceeding. Any questions or comments must be limited to the issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision, and decorum appropriate to a judicial hearing must be maintained at all times. Please rise as you are able.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, Paula, can we take a roll call, please?
Mayor Carroll here, Councilperson Goring, each here. Councilwoman Sorry, thank you. Mr. Campion,
Here.
Skippon, Ms. Weitzman, here, Swingle,
Here.
Mr. Show,
Here.
Mr. Schlanger,
Here.
Mr. Joshua,
Here.
Mr. Eckel,
Here.
Mr. Hand,
Here.
Mr. Barker, Harry Kuzinski, here, Engineer Clerico,
Here.
Minor McManus, here, Engineer Greenman.
Here.
We're all here. Yeah, you were taking a sip, but I know you're here.
I'm here. Sorry, I apologize. All right, before we start with the agenda, what I will say is we've got a lot on tonight. So we're got a lot to get through. We all have jobs to go through. So we're going to try and do this as efficiently and quickly as we can. This, I will warn council for each though. This board likes to discuss. So please allow us enough time to discuss your application. Is that fair enough to say? So item 1 on our agenda, public comments. This is a period for people that comment on anything that was not on the current agenda. So I'll ask anybody online to raise their hand on raise hand feature or in the room. Seeing none, we'll move on to item 2, which is mayor comments. Please.
None today.
Yes. Item 3, council comments.
None this evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Item 4, HPC comments. I know Dennis has got a few things because we've got lots of things through from him. You're on mute, Dennis. You did nitrate.
Sorry. We had our meeting on the 20th and we had a record 6 reviews. 3133 Broad Street porch modifications, made a recommendation on the vertical steps. 7 Brown Street renovations was approved. 38 East Main Street new fence was approved. 214 Main Street rear modifications was approved. 53 Church Street porch exterior and windows refurbishment was approved, and 10 Kapner Street porch refurbishment was approved. And then the only other item I have, my understanding is Councilman Arias is going to present the CLG recommended ordinance change at the next council meeting. Some minor changes that we had to do for SHPO. And so that's going to be coming before the council. That's it for me.
Thank you. That's good news to move along. Excellent. All right. Item 5, professional reports. Attorney, you want to do something in an executive session, maybe?
Very briefly, depending on what time we're done, but
Okay.
yes, I do have an update on the billboard circle.
Okay. Mr. Clerico, anything beyond what we have? Thank you. Jay, where was Jay?
Not
Jay.
for me.
He's in a different spot. And, Beth, one thing I was gonna ask you about is, at the last meeting, the Lone Eagle seating, we said we had more document review to do. I didn't see anything through and I felt bad, I've been away, I didn't chase it up. Are
No,
we ready to?
they had they had a request to discuss outdoor seating. I've received the site plan, I think, Bob, from your office, like their original site
Oh,
plan.
yeah.
Yeah, the original site plan. And so I think we have enough information to start the conversation.
With them, or are we going to discuss it here? Do we need to discuss it here first and then go with them, or?
I think I think it's the
Something-
board's decision, but it seems that this is an issue that it's certainly specific to this use, but it really is. I think it ought to be discussed a little bit more generally because Stangle Road is such a unique situation here in the borough.
Right, so we'll look at adding that to the agenda. And look how the agenda, it depends how we do it tonight.
Yeah, maybe it's a board discussion item. Yeah,
On the ninth,
Yeah, as long as the current things that are on there are the only things on there. I'm thinking. Okay, thank you. Anything else?
Yep.
Excellent. All right, look at this, number 6, approved of minutes. Finally.
right.
We got those final ones through March, through from our conflict attorney, and pulled those together. So I know it was last minute, people received them, but hopefully everybody had a chance to have a look at them and see if it's been through Carla, Cara and I, all the different ones that we've been tweaking them over the months, but we will finally be caught up after losing our secretary, but that's for March 25th, April 8th, May 13th, June 24th, regular meeting minutes. Does anybody have any thing that they saw, spotted anything glaring?
No.
Okay,
I make the motion to approve March 25, 2025. I know.
We have to do each one.
Yeah.
Pissarro second.
Wait. Mayor Kara,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tesoro. Yes. Mr. Campion,
Yes.
Ms. Giffen,
yes,
Ms. Weitzman. Yes. Ms. Swingle,
yes,
Mr. Trope,
Yes.
Mr. Schleifer,
Yes.
Mr. Dosh.
Mr. Langer was excused from that
Um,
meeting.
Thank you.
No problem. The Swingle Shrove, Eckel and Dashna.
Wait, somebody?
So, Ms. Swingle.
Yep.
Can we do Shrove?
Yes.
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 The next is Eckel,
Mr. Eckel
Yes.
and then Dash.
and then Mr. Dosh.
Yes.
Oh, I did that, so, okay, yep.
A motion to approve April 8, 2025.
Pissarro second.
Will you tell us the vote for that, Karen?
It's actually at the top of the minutes.
Yeah.
So if we look at who's there and who was excused,
I don't know.
I have it.
okay. So Mayor, you can, motion and,
Pissarro second.
yep, that's fine. And, Mr. Dashna and Mr. Haynes cannot vote.
Mayor Kara,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pissarro. Yes. Mr. Campion,
Yes.
Giffen,
yes,
Ms. Weissman. Yes. Ms. Swingle,
yes,
so that's the vote.
Yes.
And who did you say?
Schlanger.
Cannot.
okay,
Okay, Mr. Schleifer.
Yes.
with Echo.
And Eckel, Mr. Eckel.
Yes.
Motion to approve May 13, 2025.
Pissarro seconds. Okay, Mayor Kara,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pissarro. Yes. Mr. Campion,
Yes.
Ms. Giffen,
Yes,
Ms. Weitzman. Yes. Ms. Swingle,
yes,
Mr. Joe,
Yes.
Mr. Schlinger,
Yes.
Mr. Joshua.
Abstain.
Abstain. And then we go to
Actually,
Mr.
he can't even vote, because an abstention would be a vote, so he was not there, so he's
We'll
not
go to
vote.
Mr. Eckel.
Mr. Echo is not there, we've got Hill, and Mr. Hill's no longer here, so Mr. Haynes.
Mr. Hain,
Yes.
right?
And a motion to approve June 24, 2025.
Pissarro second. Mayor Kara,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pissarro. Yes. Mr. Campion.
Yes.
He wasn't
He
there.
wasn't there.
Ms. Giffen.
Was not there.
Ms. Weitzman. Yes. Ms. Swingle,
yes,
Mr. Show,
Yes.
Mr. Schwenger.
Yes.
Mr. Dashna.
Yes.
Mr. Eckel.
I don't think I was,
You can't, no,
But Payne can vote.
wait, I was,
yeah,
Phew.
that's it, there we go.
Well,
Woo.
up to date.
And we'll get those posted on the website.
Yes, yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, item 7 is resolution 2025-12 for Captiva Main Street. Hold on, I've got it right here. It's memorialization of the granting of the extension of the preliminary,
Sure, I didn't see, was it in there? Did I miss it?
It was.
No, was it, did I miss the part about them maintaining and keeping the property?
It's in there, yep,
It's this,
oh,
they're still not.
it's there, yep, there's a paragraph before
Okay.
the last paragraph, yep.
Anybody hear-
Applicant must
Anybody
one,
hear from there?
continue to maintain the property, including but not limited to mowing and debris removal. And 2, provide contact information from the owner or agent thereof to the broker.
Did they do that? Carla? Did they give you the name of the agent, or who's taking care of the property? Cause they still have not opened up that gate.
Well, they're- Okay, well, there are conditions of this approval, so once we approve it,
Well, the word continue is erroneous because they aren't now.
I guess it was
Yeah.
continued.
so we can.
They must maintain the property
Will take-
inside and outside the fence. Right now, they're only mowing outside the fence. And the majority of their property is inside the fence.
Inside and
Thank you.
outside. Okay, so the motion would be to approve resolution 2025-12, subject to the change in condition number 1 to say. Must 1, maintain the property, including but not limited to mowing and debris removal inside and outside the fence.
Thank you.
So that's it, who made that motion?
I'm making.
So second.
Okay, Mayor Carroll.
Yes.
Mr. Dashna.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sarah. Yes. Mr. Campion.
yes,
Ms. Giffen.
Yes.
Ms. Weitzman.
Yes.
Ms. Swingle.
yes,
Mr. Show.
Yes.
Schwenger.
Yes. That's
That's it.
That's it.
Okay. All right, I have a question. Do I need to send that to them when I find out?
Yeah, let me make the changes, I'll
Yeah.
include the voting and the change in the language, I'll send it to you, and either you can or I can.
Can I raise one other thing? The signature line on there has my name.
But
Check.
we check.
You changed it?
Yeah.
Check. Good.
Thank you.
I just.
And I gave her the resolution.
Sorry, Madam Chair.
Thank, good call. But I didn't want you to sign it.
I don't want to.
Don't all jump to.
All right, so let's move on to item 8, public hearing, approval of, oh gosh, I can't say that word today. This is for Flemington Circle Realty LLC, lot 43, lot 9.01. 33 Highway 31. Can I just check, there is, all the notices,
Yes.
are good, and the, what's the word I'm looking for, escrow, happy switch date, perfect. All right. Okay, we have applicant.
Is it okay if we set up right here? It appears the camera's facing this direction. Is that the best place to start?
Two cameras,
Oh.
that camera on the top is gonna catch you and so.
Yeah, that can see,
camera catches
see
us.
it on the left,
Okay.
it's sort of, I see you there.
So where do you recommend we set up easel?
Where's?
Oh,
I don't know if that's-
somebody, yeah, but this, I moved this here, down.
oh, it's, yeah, that's fine. Well, I think the camera's facing, it's
actually
around.
You say that.
As long as if you're putting up exhibits, it needs to be so that they can see it on that.
Yeah.
Camera there is when we're not.
Well, I have to put the.
Vanna White this thing, just dash around.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be nice, yeah.
Yeah.
That's not gonna.
Do you have a thumb drive for? Tom?
I believe so.
Well, I have to do it for
Do you
you.
want, where are you put, oh, you want to put her.
Well, just like that.
I thought-
There we go, on that.
And voted.
Oh, this is Jeremy.
I was using it like the, let's see.
Right,
That's, yeah, really good sense. Yep.
So,
so we might have to share it through.
And this password protected though, so just let me to this password.
So.
Hopefully that
I
works.
think I can spell
Got
that.
this.
If not, we'll pivot around.
Well, we better do the swearing in because it's visible on our thing before I share that.
So I'll let him do his opening and then we'll swear everybody in.
What is something like this? Hold on. It's that bit. Do you want to do your introduction first or we swear in the witnesses?
Let them do their introductions, we'll put them on the record, and I'll swear everybody in.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mayor, Board Professional, Board members. My name is Jeffrey Chen, law firm of Fox Rothschild out of Princeton office. It's my pleasure this evening to represent Flemington Circle Realty. And thank you for confirming the legal notice was acceptable. The board has jurisdiction to hear this matter this evening. The applicant is owner of a property located at 3 Highway 31, Flemington, New Jersey, also known as Block 43, Lot 9.01. On the tax map. It's about 2.19 acres in size, located in HR Highway Retail Zone, which permits retail and food establishments. That's also what our intended tenants will be, and a bit more about that from our professional this evening. We're seeking a preliminary final site plan approval this evening with bulk variance and design waiver relief, for about the 22,391 square foot, retail, building. We're proposing 113 spaces for parking, where 101 are required. And we're proposing, like I said, a mix of restaurants and retailers to fill the space. And just to highlight some of the bulk variances that we're requesting. Based on the reports that we received from your professionals, I think my request would be to either reaffirm or testify to permit the following bulk variances. So one is maximum floor area ratio, 0.20 permitted. Is 0.25 currently existing, 0.259 currently existing, and we're proposing 0.23. So it's actually a reduction of the FAR variance that's currently on the property. Also, there's a maximum impervious coverage bulk variance that we're seeking. 0.70 is permitted, 0.81 is existing, and we're proposing 0.79. In terms of signage bulk variances, we have two. One is maximum facade sign area, 100 square feet is permitted. Currently, we're proposing 396 square feet of signage on the facade facing northeast and 201 square feet of signage facing Route 31 southeast. And the other one would be maximum facade sign height, 4 feet is permitted and 18 feet is proposed for the front facade. Again, we'll demonstrate all this and show the board what we're discussing through the architect this evening. I believe the following sign waivers are also requested. Lighting requirements, maximum vertical illumination of 5 feet from the adjacent property line of 0.1 foot candles permitted. We're proposing 0.6 foot candles. Also maximum average of 0.9 foot candles within general parking and pedestrian areas permitted, and we're proposing 1.18 foot candles. Those are the design waivers and bulk variances that we are seeking this evening. With that being said, I'm happy to introduce my applicant owners team. And have them sworn in.
Yes, okay. So everyone that's gonna testify tonight, if you could just stand and raise your right hand. And then once you go to testify, you could put your name and information on record. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give this board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do, yes.
Wonderful. And really quickly, just for purposes of the record, I'm going to mark as PB1, as A1, the applicant's application and supporting documentation. A2 would be the notice and publication proofs. PB1 will be the board engineer's report of August 23rd. PB2 will be the board planner's report of August 22nd. And PB3 will be the board traffic engineer's report of August 25th. Yep.
I think the board has to do complete this whole thing.
We do.
Yes.
No, we do have to.
Yep, thank you. Okay, so before we proceed, at the last hearing, the board voted to allow the board engineer to make the determination as to whether all information that was required was submitted for purposes of completion. Can you update the board on what was submitted, so that we can have a vote first?
Yeah, the first page of my report goes through the additional documentation that was submitted, the action the board previously took, the items that have been addressed by the revised submission, and basically recommended that you do my recommendation is you move the application to be complete. Noting also there was two temporary waiver, two items in here, there was various temporary waivers that prior to the end of the application, we need to decide whether you need that information or you could forego that information.
Okay, so do we have a vote to deem the application complete, subject to the two temporary waivers that are outlined in Bob's report? And those are for checklist items B, S, and T. And checklist items L, 11D, 18, 19, 33A, and 36.
Roll call.
You do.
Mr. Dawson.
Yes.
Mr. Weitzman. Ms. Weitzman. Mayor Carroll.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sora.
Yes.
Mr. Campion.
Yes.
Ms. Giffen.
Yes.
Ms. Swingle.
yes,
Then Mr. Cho.
Yes.
Mr. Schwinger.
Yes.
I think that's it.
One more, sure. Oh, Josh needed it, right? Yep.
Yeah.
We're good.
Okay.
Okay, can I proceed though?
Yes.
Okay, so my first witness this evening is Tori Blumenman from Dynamic Engineering. He's the civil engineer. Like to get, you could discuss Tori your educational degrees, professional licensing, confirm it's good standing for state of New Jersey.
Can you just spell his name for the record?
Sure, Bingaman.
And the first name?
Tori Tory.
Thank you.
So yes, I'm a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from Lafayette College. I've been working in the field of civil engineering on various commercial, retail, and residential properties.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, geez.
I can-
You know, that's okay.
Apologize.
You know.
We didn't my whole phone driven before.
So we have to redo the whole thing now.
You were loud enough. I'm just talking. However.
I've been told that, yes, I'll try slow.
You're very, very.
Okay, better?
Yes, Dennis, can you confirm, Dennis? Dennis, can you confirm that you can hear this witness now? We've put a.
Yes, I actually could hear him fine before, but yes,
Oh,
everything's
okay.
good.
If you do use this recording, though, so we want to make sure we capture everything.
Yep.
Right, yes, all right, thank you.
So again, in case it didn't get picked up, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from Lafayette College. Been working in the field of civil engineering on various commercial, retail, residential, industrial projects for approximately 9 years. I'm a licensed professional in the state of New Jersey since 2022. I've been previously accepted as an expert in the field, in multiple municipalities in the state. This is my first time appearing for this board tonight. And again, that professional license number, 58133, if needed.
I would ask the board, accept him as an expert in civil engineering.
Does anybody have any questions or objections? No.
Wonderful, thank you. So Tori, and I guess the easiest way would be in the narrative, could you help bring the board to what's currently out there? Showing aerial, describing what we're asking to improve on this property, highlighting the key elements, I think that we saw in the review reports. Traffic, parking, landscaping, lighting, stormwater, and just take us through that.
I think for the public, for anybody who watches this up later on YouTube, this is colloquially known as the dance plaza.
Okay. Yes, there we go, yes.
So for this, we marked this,
Now,
Admission in your application.
that was part of, but was it in color?
this is a colorized rendering of the aerial map. It's titled Aerial Map Exhibit.
Oh.
It's dated today's date, so I can mark it as.
Yep, mark that as A3, please.
Yep.
And that'll be the colorized version of the aerial map dated 8/26/25.
I did the flash drive, but it's free.
So now that I have some stuff, I just you go stuff, hopefully it's one I potentially look at it, that's right.
No, I'm just trying to get your,
That much? Where does the can't find it? I think this is the.
No,
That's the one. So twist.
Except members of the public in the room have to also see it. So if we put it up on the screen, it'll satisfy the remote participants.
We'll rotate.
Place where everyone can see it.
Which file would you like me to share? Which one is this? There's 5 files here. Plaza, okay, one with
Should be one.
Davison, Dynamic, Avison Young. Ariel, is that one?
That would be one.
Right. Okay.
How's this? I'm putting laptop for a second. Give it to me. Run the meeting and I will get this up on the screen.
We'll just take a whole thing. Oh, you don't want to.
I will, but.
Remember, uses this much more often than me.
I have no comment.
We're gonna get the laptop.
Yes.
She's.
Fine, I didn't see who might it out.
No, we know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can we wait for?
Yeah, we're just.
Okay.
Yeah, you can keep going.
You go,
Okay,
okay.
good.
Okay. So again, referring to this exhibit here, again, oriented with the north toward the top of the plan. What you're seeing is the property in question outlined in yellow with a 200-foot offset to, demonstrate proximity to those adjacent uses. Property is, Jeff described, is located at block 43, lot 9.01. At the address 3 Route 31 here in the borough of Flemington. We are in the highway retail district, and the site is approximately 2.19 acres. Looking at some of these adjacent uses, to the north, we have commercial, or rather, a Wendy's drive-through to the north. Immediately across Route 31, we have a building supply commercial user. To the southwest, obviously, we have the Flemington Circle itself, to southeast rather. South, we have a commercial professional office development, and a second one towards the southwest. And then in the top northwest corner of the property, we have a existing residential to the rear. In terms of, the conformance in this existing condition, Jeff already notes some of the existing floor area ratios, but and impervious coverage relief that's going to be discussed further, but also want to note at this point, there are some front yard and rear yard setback variances which are going to be remaining unchanged as part of this application. Again, the site itself is a former Dansk shopping center. The property, is currently vacant, run down, and, is generally, unkempt as currently exists. In terms of topography and drainage, site generally drains towards Route 31. There's an existing storm sewer easement toward the rear of the site, which again brings drainage from that portion of the site to the north and ultimately back into that DOT system. In terms of prior approvals, this board approved back in 2004 some of these existing nonconformities and variances, which we will discuss further. If there's no further questions on the existing conditions, I'd like to move on to the proposed improvements. Now, my next exhibit. Can you know what the titles? This one is titled site plan rendering.
And also that was not done in color.
Correct. It's a colorized version of the site plan. Yep.
Site plan sheet.
For but this is dated 8/26. So it's good.
Thank
Can you just confirm what I got on the screen is the right one? Yes. So again, as was mentioned, the proposed use is essentially saying the same between the permitted retail service development. Site improvements include improvements to site circulation as well as a renovation of the existing building. We'll touch more on that as we go through, but in terms of the bulk requirements for the zoning, the majority of which are remaining unchanged, with the exception of those floor area ratio and impervious coverage requirements, which were existing nonconformities and are being reduced in the proposed condition. The application also proposes multiple signages. Again, we'll provide additional testimony with the architectural presentation, but in general, proposed signage for the proposed freestanding monument sign, which is to be located in the north driveway, is similar and complies with the town's freestanding signage requirements. The proposed facade signage has multiple signages proposed, one along the Route 31 side, which was a combination of all the tenants, will be detailed further by the architect, as well as individual tenant signages along the what would be the north side of the building facing the parking lot. Again, we'll provide more information on that with the architectural data. In terms of access, there are no changes to the existing access. The north one located, has full movement off of Route 31, and the lower north or southern rather is an exit only, which goes on to the bypass lane of the 202 circle. In terms of internal circulation, there's some improvements which are reducing the overall impervious coverage on the site, as well as some of the site circulation, specifically in front of the building where we've reoriented and widened some of the drive aisles to convert the existing angle spaces to perpendicular spaces, which allow us to provide some additional parking for that front portion of the site. For the rear, again, we've consolidated some of the existing landscape islands and concrete pads that were out there to provide a more uniform maintenance and access corridor in the back for employees, and as well as a loading space which complies with the borough requirements. In terms of parking requirements, the current tenant mix as currently contemplated requires 101 spaces, while this plan provides 113. So therefore, we're in compliance with parking requirements. We also are proposing 4 electrical vehicle spaces, which would provide an additional 4 vehicle credit, parking credit, and the state requirements. There's some restriping involved as well for ADA spaces to provide 5 spaces, which meets the ADA requirements for that. We have a trash enclosure located in the southwest corner of the property as well. It's 2 by 20, so anticipating having 2 dumpsters with that, with pickups roughly 3 to 4 times a week. Landscaping is provided intent to comply with the township requirements. This includes additional plantings along the frontage to attempt to screen that front yard parking, which is another existing nonconformity. So what you're seeing here is multiple street trees, as well as some shrubs planting there to again provide screening there along the frontage between that parking and Route 31. Again, we've supplemented some additional plantings in the interior parking islands, as well as along the front of the building, giving that a refresh as well. Site lighting again is brought in compliance with the noted design waivers for the property line and, sorry, 1 second. And the general pedestrian area, so the reason for the general pedestrian lighting requirement is that we are also satisfying the parking area requirement because of the proximity of those parking and pedestrian areas to one another. It's not really a way that we can separate the two to make that fully compliant, but we are compliant with the general parking requirement for lighting standards. So this design incorporates 4 additional lights, the replacement of one existing pole, which is fallen over. The remaining existing lights will have the heads replaced to have a consistent light across the site, as well as proposing 3 new wall packs along the rear of the property. There's a cross access that's proposed, which is consistent with our requirements on the rear of the property, which will provide access to lot 8 immediately to the west. This is, what we felt was the most well-suited spot, in the event that, a future development would want to promote that cross access between the 2 properties. The adjacent properties to the south and to the north are not as well suited for cross access. To the south, we're balance and grade differential. There's an existing timber grading wall or retaining wall. It's roughly 2 to 3 feet in height, which would make the cross access there challenging. Similarly, for the use to the north, we have that existing drive-through and bypass lane associated with the Wendy's drive-through, which again, we wouldn't want to be introducing traffic into those elements.
And there's significant grading difference between that property and ours, is that correct?
Correct, there's a great differential for that as well. But overall, the design intent is, intended to meet the improve the site. Obviously, it's in a state of disrepair right now. And generally just looking to improve those circulation elements. And enhance the visual aspect. Some of the other items we have left, stormwater. Our office prepared a stormwater management report, which addresses the borough requirements for impervious coverage for developments over 2,000 square feet to provide drainage design that meets the major development requirements of the borough ordinance. The report provided uses non-structural strategies, which in this case are the reduction in impervious coverage and the snow planning as well, that provide the ability to reduce overall runoff rates and runoff volume below what's there now, which is complies with major development requirements. Utilities for the site, we have will service from the Borough Water and Sewer Department. For the water, we have a proposed 8-inch fire service, which will be located off the southern driveway. We have a meter enclosure proposed with backflow preventer and appropriate apparatus. We'll work with the sewers utility department for any necessary approvals associated with those connections. In terms of sewer, new services will be provided for the new tenants, which will connect to an existing sewer main, which runs along the rear of the property. In terms of remaining outside agency approvals, our office received waivers from Hunterdon County as well as the Soil Conservation District for the limited disturbance associated with this project.
Did you get anything from DOT?
Yes, and DOT received a letter of no interest for the development, as there's no change in the use for going from retail to retail.
Can you just confirm, and I apologize if you did, fire truck access location hydrants, or are there any issues with turntables with fire emergency vehicles on site?
No, our office submitted emergency vehicle circulation, so fire truck was run through the property and determined that it could maneuver through. Proposed changes to the curbing without any issues, as well as, running circulation for, trash truck as well, to confirm no issues with, pickup and, exiting the site. I have some variances again, those existing nonconformities that we noted, and signage, which again, Jeff's already described.
Yeah, we'll describe that further with the architect, but I have nothing further to direct for our engineer. I don't know if the board professionals for questions, we're happy to go through the Van Cleef report dated August 9th, 2025 as well.
Right.
Just one clarification. You said you had approval from the Soil Conservation District, and you said you had water approval?
We have,
Those are records, 'cause I never got copies.
if I misspoke there, we have will serves from water.
You
So
filed will service.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
We don't call them listers anymore, they're temporary reservations
Okay.
here.
I think you said you had a waiver from soil conservation, right? A letter of no interest.
DOT.
I had county soil conservation and DOT,
Oh, okay.
all three of those.
Does the borough have copies of that?
We submitted copies of the county and SED. The loaning was received June, July 25th, so it may not have been resubmitted.
So we'll just make that. motion.
Right. You can make that condition.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, well, our usual procedures then we'll go to our professional.
Absolutely.
Who has questions for you and raise from then the board and then the public.
Sure.
Janine, yeah.
You waive questions now.
I don't know that I have any questions. There's some comments in my report that we could address or they can be done.
Okay.
If you want me to run through their comments. If. So there are a couple items in my report, beginning on page 6, section 4. There are a few inconsistencies identified, which if it seems that they could be addressed as a condition of approval. Although I'm interested if there's any feedback on correct figures. One of them is addressing signs, so that looks better directed for your architect. The other one is in regard to, maybe this speaks to, but it addresses the outdoor area versus the interior floor area, and so what the floor area is. Item 4.3 and 4.4, I had a handful of comments regarding the landscape plan and the lighting plan.
Right, so for the we can comply with the requirements, I guess, for the parking buffer would be the for to your office. I mean, we did provide the plantings along the frontage there for that buffering related to the that requirement for the front yard and the front parking. Looking at item 3.9B.
Oh, take a look, I'm sorry, I'd like to direct your attention
That's
to item 4.3. So section 3 identifies items in terms of their compliance with the borough code, but section 4.3 in terms of landscape addresses recommendations I have.
No, we had no issues with those recommendations.
Okay, and for the lighting plan as well?
Yeah, we will confirm and address.
Great. I had raised the issue in item 4.5 in regard to the planting areas or maybe landscape islands, how you want to refer to them, along the southern property line, which is essentially the rear of the building. There are these two, I don't know, triangular areas, sort of slivers. One holds the trash enclosure. And I'm wondering if there's an opportunity to connect those so that there's a more regular passageway or cartway for vehicles in that area.
So
Yes.
for the board's reference, she's referring to this portion along this existing retaining wall. And we had no issue looking to provide some additional landscaping there.
Right. Item 4.6 addressed the cross-access easements, and I recognize that you're proposing the cross-access easement to the west, and I heard the testimony in regards to the south and the north. With the south, I believe the concern is the grade change in that area, and to the north, it is the presence of the Wendy's drive-through, and I think to a lesser extent, a grade change in that area. In terms of connection to the Wendy's parking lot, what I offer is, I'm not recommending that there be a connection between the parking lots at this time, so the vehicles from this shopping center are going to enter into the drive-through. It's in the event that the Wendy's may be redeveloped for something that does not include a drive-through, or at least in that area. And there may be an opportunity to connect the lots to give, whether it's pedestrians or also vehicles the opportunity to access the neighboring site without having to go on the highway. And so I wanted to raise that for the board's consideration and for the applicant's reconsideration about connecting to the north and also to the south in the event that the site, the Plaza One presumably is redeveloped and of course the grading is redesigned to accommodate access.
I mean, for the rear, we have 2 3-foot grade differential, so are we only talking about the front, the top?
I think they should be taken separately.
Okay, so I mean, Tori, the engineer. Do you want to address the first top one? Wendy's and this is the, and where the. I know there's.
Right, I mean, there's a handful of incidents, existing easements already, that we'd have to confirm any restrictions associated with those, obviously, for the rear. Again, yeah,
We worry about losing parking, that's.
right, that would be the other concern. Right now, we have additional parking on the site, but obviously with this tenant, that's still to be confirmed. We afford ourselves that flexibility here. We've got, again, you know, in terms of not wanting to reducing this buffering back here or sacrificing parking. You know, we're also being conscious of the residential, you know, users off on this northwest corner, so. And then again, as we move further east, that's when we start to get really into the proximity toward that Wendy's drive-through, so. You know, well, from a greater standpoint, it may be already accomplished, you know, we'd be sacrificing some parking and, you know, again, conflicting with that, that drive-through.
You know, I'll defer to the board. I would just note that we've got, I think, not less than 12 additional parking spaces than what's necessary given the current tenant mix, although I recognize that your tenant mix may change over time. And I think the access, you would probably lose perhaps 3 parking spaces as a result. And so I'll defer to the board. It's a recommendation of mine just to try to connect these parking lots. It's a long-term goal, but I think the board can weigh the testimony. For the south access, I do understand the concern in regards to the grade change, and admittedly, I will say, I think that's less likely to occur because you would need a significant redevelopment such that the grade is altered between the 2 properties. But to the north, it seems that there might be an opportunity in the future.
I mean, defer the board and they can sort of respond. We're trying to accommodate, it's some, I really would like to preserve as many spots as possible for the client to determine their tenant mix. It's just something that from a business perspective, we want to have that flexibility. And we don't necessarily know who the tenant will be and how their parking demands will be. You know, obviously, as you saw in the reports, we had to adhere to those spaces, whatever we end up having.
You don't have to decide.
But can I ask a question on this? So it appears on this, which is what I have on the screen, it does appear that there is a proposed 25-foot vehicular cross-access easement there on the left side, right?
That's for the west.
Right, for the west, right? That is just shy of 3 spots wide, right? Are you counting those 3 spots in your calculation?
We are currently.
Okay, so what I think that, I'm not question time, sorry. Is it possible to keep your count of parking spots to propose a similar kind of reservation on the Wendy's line? for a future cross access that would not impact your parking spots, would allow a future thing to happen if the tenant mix was sufficient.
Space. Yeah. Big parking. Yeah. Different. Yeah, I want. There's issues. Okay. So if it's possible, we could try to fit something right here.
I don't wanna take away any vegetated spaces, but maybe you choose to that. No, but I'm asking
Yes.
can you,
It's
without removing vegetation,
yeah.
allowing your ability to continue to count those spots as you are on the one on the west side, is there something that would make sense from circulation perspective? That in the future, where they're not a drive-through, where you didn't have that heating vehicular, that we could in the future, if there's another use there, like, I don't know, a Lidl shopping center, I don't know, or something. Could,
Well,
is
yeah,
that
if
something that
it's
we
okay,
could
we'll
consider?
we'll discuss it a little more. And if it's really the board's intention, I'm sure we can accommodate it. I just wanted to make sure the record's clear. We did give careful thought to this. It wasn't, that's why we didn't have any issue with that one, or this one has obviously more significant engineering. So it's not that we're trying to be, we want to work with town, we want to invest, right? But it's just, I'm trying to preserve the amount of spaces because we are counting 113 with these three being, could be encumbered, so we're down to 110. So, and if I can go 3, I keep inching closer to the minimum. But all right, we're happy to revisit this, when you deem appropriate.
No,
yeah,
you're
right.
right, go ahead, but yeah.
So,
I think items 4.7, which is in regard to signs, 4.8 is in regard to rooftop equipment, I suspect that's for your architect.
Correct.
And so the last 3 items that I think may be relevant is just simply coloring the trash enclosure with something that a color that's consistent or complementary to the building, providing a detail of the fence and details of the EV chargers. And those could all be conditions.
Yeah.
Great, okay. I don't know.
Just a couple, if we're gonna go through the board's reports just to kind of move it along,
Sure.
if you're willing to do all of the recommendations, you can certainly just say we're willing to comply with all the recommendations. If there are certain ones that you're not, we can just focus on those, and that way it'll make it easy for the record for the board.
Sure.
The 113 parking spaces, that includes the 4 EV credits, or that would go up to 170?
Correct.
Okay. And just so I understand the cross access, because one of the things I was gonna put in here is that you'd have to submit a cross access easement for the board of professionals review. But is that, since you're including those 3 spaces in the 113, you're not really proposing an easement right now? So I wanna
Right, I think it's,
clear on that.
we're, whatever vehicle that you guys deem appropriate, we're okay with signing, saying when there's not, when this lot to the west gets redeveloped, we will accommodate cross access located in this area.
Got it. Okay, that's fine. Go ahead.
We're doing questions on testimony.
Yeah.
Just one I thought of. In my report, I noted that you had mentioned as part of your testimony that the site has 81% impervious coverage, dropping it to 79. Have you found anything in the record as to how you got to 81% as part of a prior approval? Because the documents, at least the ones I reviewed that you submitted, would seem to indicate that the last approval in 88 was for 64%.
Right, so we did find, I think we have a copy of it, but the preliminary approval from that 2004 application noted 77% impervious coverage. Since then, there's been various DOT improvements as well as a taking that I don't think was reflected on those plans at that time.
Part of the increase in percentage is because DOT took land.
Relative to that, yeah.
One of the things we're gonna have to do, they're currently over. There's 2 issues here. They're currently over the 70% allowed. And I'd like to figure out for the record how we got there. And you're indicating they're slightly reducing that. And then there's the alternative issue of the section, or is 2736. About under stormwater issues, reducing it much less unless you do stormwater, which essentially, well, we'll get into that discussion with the report. I'm indicating effectively or not, or at least the matter of discussion.
Right.
Do you know what the percentage was of the impervious coverage prior to the DOT taking?
You should study some.
Right, it's, I don't have.
So it was 77% at the time of the taking in.
And we lost land to DOT.
Went up to 81%.
That's correct.
And how did you say that it went from 64% to 70%?
There was a planning board application in 2004 for the addition to the rear, that tiny unit on the back. And part of that. Sorry. So that unit included a site plan application.
Your California grill, anything, but think of.
Yes, the California grill application, so I can pass this over, but notes a maximum impervious coverage of 76.9 where 70 is allowed.
Was that prior to or after the DOT take them?
I believe it's prior to,
Prior to.
based on the areas that were represented on that site plan.
Was this part of the documents you submitted in your
It should have been,
It should
yeah,
have been.
because we submit all past resolutions. And we can certainly get you another copy.
no, well, if it's in the document. Again, I just think we need. There's obviously prior approvals here, something to go back quite a ways. And I never thought of the issue of the DOT taking, so that would certainly have an effect, but at some point. To any extent that you even grant on the 50% issue, you do have the zoning issue. And it would be good to just recognize what, if you think we need variance relief for a pre-existing non-conforming condition. They're really two separate issues.
So we're gonna go through your report separately now, Bob, because one of my questions was, the testimony was that they were going to comply with everything in Bob's report, but is that the case? Is that the testimony?
So if Tori, can you take us, take the board through what everything that we cannot comply with or that you want to comment upon, the things that you do not comment upon, we are maybe accept.
Right, that's the best way to put it, thank you.
So with that being said, this is the report dated August 23rd, 2025.
The Van Cleef report, August 23rd, you can go through that, tell us which things you
Cannot, or do you clarify?
feel that you.
Right, go
So looking on page 3, item 1, related to the floor area ratio of various coverages, I think, Bob, that prior approval will clarify the how we got to that existing nonconformity. Then not gonna be moving through here.
You said that was 1A or 1B?
That would be 1A and B, I believe.
And B.
The signage variance will be discussed.
Just tell me what number.
That would be 1C.
Our architect will discuss that.
Stormwater, Bob, we've already outlined our approach. This is 2B, this is 2B. So again, the stormwater report that was submitted, basically outlines how, what would be called a non-structural strategy or low impact development. We're reducing the impervious coverage, and we'll actually be reducing it further by the addition of those additional landscape areas that were requested by the planner. And those.
So you're standing by what you submitted as something in support of compliance with that section 2730. Remember the number 2736, I think. 2637.
Well, based on our interpretation, the requirements for a major development, we meet those quantity and quality requirements by function of the reduction of impervious, which reduces both the volume and the rate of runoff.
Right, well, there's 9, if you're gonna stay with that position, then I think we need to go through that. Again, this is, as I indicated in my report, this is the first time I recall an applicant utilizing that, one of that options to address that particular section. And it gets into a lot of nuance as opposed to just physically doing something to improve water quality or reduce the volume of the site. It's an analysis. I'm not even sure if that analysis in the current, that used to be the old version of the stormwater rules. I'm not sure it's in there at least verbatim. Because when we did that, we pulled that right out of the stormwater rule, but I don't think that, I'm pretty sure that's not even in the current version of the stormwater. But going through that, you properly list all the various strategies. In terms of strategy number 2, it talks about minimizing impervious surface and breakup of disconnected flow. Your response will be just related to reducing impervious surfaces. Are you indicating you have no option to break up or disconnect flow on this site? Again, I'm offering this only in the context of some of the other options. Like instead of a curb, having a swale along the edge, or the pervious pavement, or if it became necessary for dry wells or something like that. It's a 2-part thing, and you really only responded to the one part. It would seem to me, I'm not arguing that you've done, given the nature of the site, you've done what you can to reduce impervious coverage, but I don't know that you've made any attempt to break up or disconnect flow. And a similar issue related to that would be item 4, which would minimize the decrease in climate concentration, which would be related to that. And 7, introduction of low maintenance landscaping, which may or may not be related to that. More importantly, item 8, the providing some sort of vegetative open channel conveyance system. It just strikes me with some easy things you could do that would go to that to that particular point. You know, and if you're going to rely on those 9 strategies, I think you have to hit the target on all of them. And in which case, I think hitting the target on some of them, I think would require doing something more positive. Again, the thing I was going to defer to the board, since we haven't had this discussion before. This is sort of an analytical response, that first item. And you know, obviously, if this was a vacant site, you were building it today, you would have all kinds of stormwater facilities on there. But it's not. I mean, it's a developed site. And it doesn't fall under the stormwater regulations, because it does rise to the level of a major project. So they're not obligated to meet the stormwater criteria, obviously. But that other section, I always thought was put in there as sort of a bit of a catch-all on somewhat smaller projects to sort of do something approach, or reduce your coverage down by 20%. And we'll call that doing something. Obviously, they don't have the ability to do that. So they do something for some of the other items that, again, they're in the ordinance to throw out there. So I mean,
we would review that, I think, you know, some kind of bioretention, either a swale or rain garden, I think, in one of these landscape areas, you know, in that kind of center island. You know, we can look into, and I think we'd be able to provide if that would.
You inclined to try to stay away from porous pavement?
Yes. Just from a maintenance perspective.
You can sit down with your chef. Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, administrators, I don't know about the meeting thing they're having here.
What? This is a planning board meeting.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to come to.
Okay. Feel free.
So if you go through my report, then there are some things in the report on the stormwater that you could possibly do.
Yeah, I think we can look into it.
Now, we're going through the report, let's try to focus on what those items might be.
So I think through that.
Well, can I just ask for clarification on that? I know you just spoke for so these are things that they could do. They don't have to under regulations. That's correct?
Well,
Or is it not? I did I misinterpret that?
Yeah, I think that maybe if we look at, and maybe I'm wrong, you tell me if I'm wrong, but if we look at page 6 of Bob's report. So he said this doesn't come under the state stormwater management rules, it comes under the boroughs. And if we look at their 3 options for what they can do in order to get relief or comply with section 2637 of our ordinance, they can do one of those three things. That's what we're
I'm
just
suggesting, I'm suggesting there are, I think those are three options. to follow.
Okay,
They chose to
Follow up
go
on
option one under the ordinance, which was to do the analytical response.
Okay.
And say we did the
Saying that they
analytical
already
response,
comply.
and we checked off all the boxes, ergo, we met that section. Ergo, we're entitled to something, we're not required to do the 20% reduction. Again, it's a little bit odd here because you already have a site that's over your allowable. And what the ordinance would say is you have to be 20% below your allowable. So they're at, the allowable is 70, this section, of the ordinance would say you gotta reduce it to 50 unless you can hit the targets on either some of these other categories. In this particular case, they're already over that, presumably by prior approvals or taking land or whatever. We're working on a, I think, very legitimate assumption based on what they just said, that what's there today is there legally. By taking of a land by a higher agency, which reduced the land, which is, increase the percentage of impervious coverage on the land that was left over. And trying to deal with this other provision of the ordinance, so.
and the engineer was basically saying that they could provide some rain gardens, so that would be provide one or more
Well, we
specified.
can talk a little bit more in detail, just so we get a better sense of exactly what they would do, but that would sort of fall into the category of, no, 14, excuse me, I'm on the wrong section. 13C, number 3B at the bottom. That would be along the lines of the, bioretention would be along the lines of the vegetative filter strip. And we can discuss these one by one and see if any of them are feasible.
I guess what I'm just saying is it would be, again, if we go look at 13A, B, and C, as you've easily outlined what their three options are. They're not gonna be able to do A, because they can't get it under 50. They can do B in certain situations, which would be something like the garden that they're
Well,
proposing.
their position is they did B by doing the analytical approach. I'm questioning that if they did that, if they checked all the boxes off, they really qualified for that. And again, it was throwing that out to the board because we haven't seen an applicant who's just come in.
And ultimately, if they can't do anything, then they could get relief from this board from those particular provisions.
I think, underlying this, they could always, seek relief from the 20% reductions.
Because the analytically, they did that modeling, so they can prove to us.
Yes, I think if we're gonna rely on that, then I think we should go through the stormwater report and discuss each one, what it is, did you really hit the target, or is there something else you could have done? Again, so it's a little bit of unknown turf here, because no applicants ever tried to do that before, so they don't have a history on trying to do that out.
There's fees.
Congratulations.
I just want to be clear that we are, our initial position, I think still remains, is that we are complying with 2637. We have, it's an or, it's A, B, it's A or B or C. Our position is that we satisfy B, but in light of the comments from Mr. Cleric, we're trying to see if we can offer additional
That's the
accommodation.
right approach here, I mean, you can.
I just wanted.
Some of this stuff is theoretical, you could argue all wrong, that's all complicated.
We can all walk away, let the engineers do it and come back.
You're not seeking C, you're not seeking relief. They're not seeking.
No, they're not seeking
They're seeking
relief.
B to do something.
At least they're not seeking relief up to this point, they're trying to say, we are doing it by choosing, we gave them a multiple choice.
Right,
And they chose an item that, again, we haven't seen before, and like I said, we're trying to, that was an analytical approach, we're trying to assess whether they really, whether they hit the targets.
but the detail of how we want to, what then do. We want to go through.
Well,
this
again,
meeting,
what I
or
heard,
is it
again, they
going to be
can
a
elaborate, they
of
can-
the discussion?
I don't know if we're there yet. I'm not quite sure.
I'm with you.
they could elaborate some more, but I think, I'm not sure if this, you weren't very specific exactly what you would do. But one of the suggestions would eliminate the curve along the low side of those things and put some sort of a vegetative filter strip in. Is that along the lines of what you were thinking?
Right.
that would be right out of the ordinance. That would be item,
You put this
that's
in.
item 8 in the checklist thing that they did, but in terms of the ordinance, we have that provision that I listed under number 3B, under number
Yeah.
15, the vegetated filter strips along the edge of the spaces listed above on the south side of the, and along the exit loading area at the rear of the building.
Right.
If that's something they could do, then they would, then they could present this, oh, we chose that option, we did that. And again, I think you have to recognize that it's very difficult on this site to do a lot.
So is that the testimony you're proposing to? Which item from Mr. Clerico's report from the rapid report? Are you saying is a possibility that you would look at? Or you're definitely going to do it? Is that where we are at the moment?
3B or.
3B.
3B.
Very big, some. It may
That-
not,
Yeah,
that
some-
would-
not, maybe not in that location, but we'll work with the borough's engineer to, come up with something that works.
And the testimony is that you're not interested in doing porous pavement because of maintenance concerns. And dry wells is not something that you're considering, but some sort of vegetative filter determined position to be looked at, or like, is that, I'm reading from that before, that's what I'm hearing, right?
You'll work with that.
Yeah, it's like, as a condition, assuming this gets approved, as a condition of approval, we work with your board, your engineer to find a suitable solution. Consistent with section 3B. Right now, I think we would need a little more detailed engineering, I think, to make the final commitment, but I think we're confident we will find a suitable location utilizing the vegetated filter strips. Or something that will satisfy your engineer, and if that's acceptable to the board.
That test, so we can put that as a condition and.
Are you ruling out the two suggestions I had, or are you just saying you need to think about it?
We would need to do the analysis.
I mean, it requires some more additional time to try to make sure, it's hard. The answer is we will make full commitment to, I'm sure we will find a solution with your engineer that will be acceptable, assuming the board's okay with that. It's more of an administrative discussion and decision making. I defer to the board to say if that's okay.
Right, well, we can discuss it at the appropriate point, but it would be a condition.
Yes, correct.
Can't go off without that. Okay, so moving with the rest, with the other items that you're not, we were going through the banking, that you're not prepared to discuss and work with.
Jump ahead, let me just make sure. No, right.
Okay. All right,
So,
so Bob, did you want to raise any of those things at this point, or is that?
No, there's some other things in here, I think that require some discussion.
Okay,
The item 19, only because the board hasn't seen this before. I mean, I've seen these in other municipalities, but I don't think I've seen one in Flemington yet. Maybe you could describe on item 19 exactly what we're doing there.
Right, so what's being proposed right now is with the proposed fire service, so the architect will discuss more, but currently the building doesn't have any fire protection. So we're proposing a new 8-inch service off of the main, which runs along the frontage on Route 31. And part of those service connections, you require a backflow preventer and other mechanical purposes, typically housed within an above ground enclosure, heated enclosures so that they don't freeze and run the risk of cracking and having leaks.
But the board needs to kind of put it into perspective. Again, I've seen these in other municipalities, but I haven't seen one in Flemington. It hasn't come up before yet. But if you're talking about an above ground structure approximately the size of your dais, that would be 4 or 5, I think it scales about 5-6 feet deep. That would be, how high would you say? The ones I've seen are like 6, 7, 8 feet high.
It depends. I mean, this is just gonna be a fire service, so there's not multiple lines in it, so it might be slightly smaller than that,
Okay.
but.
where is that located on the site plan? Could you simply point it out?
It's located right back down here at the bottom, that rear axis.
In the front yard?
That would be.
It's side
it's a
yard,
front
like the yard adjacent. to
Yes,
ours.
it's side yard.
Side yard?
Technically.
I did see that.
So
it's a structure.
and is it within the side yard setback?
Yes.
Yes.
It's in the front yard setback too.
It's just, an aluminum or steel enclosure that,
I'm sorry, no, I'm asking the question.
I'm sorry.
Is it close, is it too close to the side, is it conforming to the side yard and front yard setbacks? It's not conforming.
Well, again, you're gonna have to start dealing with this from a zoning perspective. Usually these things are all subsurface. You don't even see it, but. And I'm not sure if this is a trend the borough's going to anyway, but many municipalities and water companies have gone to this. It avoids the whole, below ground access and whatnot, so. But it does start raising some zoning questions as to what exactly are these things, and do you have to treat it with some sort of. Are they're obvious, some sort of an accessory structure of some sort.
I mean, Meriden does this all the time, usually the hot boxes or
That's what they're
included, yeah, are included in the front yard setback, so they're treated as accessory structures and we do front yard setback variances for those. That's why I wasn't sure if it was front and side.
Right.
But certainly we should include it as relief that's necessary, just so it's perfectly clear.
Because the alternative is that this stuff has to go inside the building, and I thought that takes up space inside the building.
No, more likely it has to go underground.
Yeah, and I don't even know, because my understanding, and this is, more your areas, but that's where they're being required to be located in that fashion. So even if you required or the applicant preferred it to be underground, they're not letting that happen.
So it's a question, where do you put it, and
Mhm.
from a zoning perspective, how do you start treating it? Do you have an accessory structure setback criteria?
Right.
If you do, just read it. If you don't, it's considered, a regular structure. You're gonna need to find a way to deal with it, because this is the first one you're seeing, but I'm sure you're gonna see more of them come in the future.
I mean,
Our
all the
ordinance-
details of this one on the plan right now, the size, it's not really identified, is it?
No, and we don't, and just so folks know, our ordinance doesn't differentiate between either a utility accessory structure or a shed.
So it's something we're
Are there
gonna have to
different
look at
setbacks?
for us in the future.
Accessory principle?
That's a stupid question. If this is an accessory structure that's being added,
I categorize them, I categorize them.
if one were to interpret this as accessory structure, does that at all impact any of the other calculations or relief that they're seeking? It's not, because the rest of the application was that they weren't building anything new.
Mhm.
And that it doesn't trigger
Well, this is.
stormwater, it doesn't trigger.
I don't think it triggers necessarily. It's not that. From the area perspective, I put in my report, only because it's not dimensioned, I just scaled it.
That's my question, is no dimensions, because if you said it's this and it might be 8 foot tall, that's.
Bob, is this a requirement by the Department of Community Affairs for fire?
Well, water department. They're indicating fire protection is something they need to do with the building. Apparently, they're getting direction from the borough that we don't want this stuff underground anymore, we want it above ground. In a structure.
But is the fire?
Water company demands it. They give you the details on how it's laid out. You follow
Yeah,
their.
we're gonna need to put
That's
down
not my question is
That's what-
this to the engineer? Is this a requirement to put fire suppressant in this building at this point?
yes.
So we have to do it.
It's not a question of have to do it, I agree, it's more, I just wanna make sure how we're calculating and understanding because if this is a structure, they're gonna need additional relief, it sounds like.
Yeah, the accessory buildings for retail and service uses are prohibited in the front yard, 15 feet for the side yard. And this structure is in the front yard and it's maybe 5 or so feet off not even a couple feet off of the side yard property line.
Is that where it's supposed to be?
So you're gonna have to look at, and as variance relief, and you have to look at the plan, and you have to look at. Is there a place you could put this that would meet those things?
The utility company's kind of thinking that.
That's my,
But is this?
working on the private side, that's my
I
understanding.
think
That's
the
what they'll do.
utility company is dictating they have one. I don't know if they're
They're
dictating, they put it in, right on the property line.
Yeah, it's a,
No, it's a new.
Yeah, that's just.
Yeah. So just a clarification.
Yeah, let's circle this back. Okay, so we've got a couple of questions. So first of all, we've determined that this is an accessory structure. We've determined that there are setback requirements for this. It cannot be in the front yard, so that would be another piece of relief. It has to be X amount of feet from the side yard, which it doesn't meet, so that's another piece of relief. Mayor, you had a question about requirements for where it has to be located?
No, my question was whether it required it all.
At all, fire suppression, you got the answer to that,
Yes.
okay.
That was my question about whether it could be located elsewhere to help with the setback issue.
Can we respond to that question about where the location is? So go ahead.
Right, so the location's really kind of also dictated by what the water purveyor is gonna require, so typically they want it within so many feet of the right of way, so that they don't have to get access all the way to the rear of the site.
Which is on 31 in this situation, correct?
Have you actually presented this to the water department yet? I know you filed a,
This hasn't been presented to the water department.
okay.
And I'll tell you that, again, my private experience, you can locate it where you think they're going to locate it, you can do your best to figure that out, but when they come out and they put it where it is, I've had clients that had to go back for amended approvals because where they actually put it was closer within the setback than what was approved by the board. So you're really subject to their, to what they do, and sometimes they even
Which,
do it without you even knowing.
which be helpful, but have some input from the water department.
That doesn't, it's not always easy, because they won't always do that until you have an approval. That's part of the problem. It's a chicken and the egg kind of situation. It's hard.
So hold on, so if this is an accessory structure and it's gonna need relief from both the prohibition in the front yard and the setback for the side yard. And the ordinance has to put a number in any resolution would have to have a number in it. And the thing they move, is that what I'm getting?
That's what you're hearing.
So they're gonna have to come back for an amendment to.
Unless we say no closer than and put a buffer in. Based on experience as to, they'll never put it any closer than 2 feet, something along those lines. And I don't know what that is, and I'm not providing testimony, I'm just saying, I'm trying to reconcile the two because I've seen it happen and it's problematic.
Because if approvals were given, and we would kind of want them to have what they need and not have to come back, right?
Agreed,
Right.
agreed.
I mean, I think.
I don't want to approve something we don't know what it is.
Well, I think it has to be certain proximity to the water line, which is, it's on Route 31, so we have limited space that's outside of the parking area. It wouldn't be across near the Wendy's property line, so if not there. The most logical location, we believe, would be along that retaining wall area. If the board were so inclined to approve it, I think it would be helpful, as your counselor said, maybe not more than X feet to the front yard. And almost like shading a box for us to work within. And if
Front
we-
yard is prohibited entirely, so that's easy relief, you're gonna allow it in the front yard.
Correct,
It's the side yard that's the issue.
And it's very close to the property line.
which is a wooden retaining wall with 2 to 3 feet in height.
Correct.
So there,
Yeah.
yes, you have parking there, but there's nothing adjacent, there's no landscape or anything like that on this, I guess, which is a grassy median area. Correct.
And I think that that location that they proposed, at least in that area, is perhaps. Is, for options that are close to Route 31, it's probably the least visible portion of the site, as it's next to the secondary entrance. It's got some trees, not in front of it, but to the side of it, just to sort of filter the view of it.
Right, well, will they be restricted on this, because if there has to be access all around this box? Right.
I don't know that they can plant shrubs all the way like this, my only point is, it could be, I guess it could be in a worse location, it would be much more visible from the front building or the other entrance.
Right, okay. Put that, make notes.
Taking notes.
And my notice doesn't have the catch-all, so any variances that come up, if that's a question, people are happy in the back of their head. I did offer that 2 lines in there to make sure in event of this situation.
I always make sure it's there.
Correct,
So
yes.
don't worry about it.
Just making sure.
Big list.
Yes.
2 other ones related that we should probably just talk about in 9 and 10. 9 indicated that if we're gonna do limited amounts of base reconstruction, it had to be a minimum of 6 to 8 feet wide, but in the alternative, I said, given if you did that, what you're gonna have left over trying to preserve existing pavement is gonna be next to nothing, and just take it off, so you're gonna go with
We're
that.
okay with that, yeah, we're okay with both those.
Okay, so,
12, 9, and 10?
no, they're gonna, 9 was an alternative to what they were proposing, 10 is a sort of clean the slate and do it correct kind of, so they're gonna do 10.
Let's do 10 for them.
Yes.
I'm trying to check off as many things here, so it's not left to me to figure out after the 10 votes. What did you approve, you know? Why don't you go on, I'll just, I'll do this and see if there's anything else.
Okay, well, shall I go on, I'm going to, any questions for this witness from the board members, are you going to, so let's start at, Martin. Let's start, go get this in, this witness, please.
Just a bit general question on the dumpster closure, you said you're gonna have food and stuff, is there like separated food waste recycling, or is it, because I think you said 2 of them, and if there's different retails in there for food waste, and then is that in relation to like a storm drain? 'Cause I think when we did Five Guys, they had to do something specific.
That would ultimately be up to the tenants and the landlord on how those operations work, but just separate those, you know. They indicated, pickups multiple times a week, so I think, tend to be concerned about any, food waste or debris or leakage, it's with that frequency, would be a minimal concern.
Cause I know when the Five Guys, when they had oil drums that were outside of the enclosure, so it was something that people complained about afterwards, so it's just.
I mean, our position is, and the landlord will have that control of the property, is to make sure everything is within that dumpster
In that
enclosure, yes. Anything that's not, is beyond that, obviously, we'd have to come back for amended, because that's beyond what's assumed would be approved tonight.
Question I have.
No questions.
Just to follow up on what Mr. Haynes just asked, so they are going to recycle cardboard, right?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we're gonna keep it all within this dumpster
All right.
enclosure area.
And then getting to the lighting issue, I just don't have this report with me, so. We're concerned about night sky, you've got residents behind you. That 3-bar lights in the back, it's gonna be all facing down, right? Okay, and I just wanted to ask, Mr. Schreiber, do you have shade tree that would you say?
We have not reviewed the site plan, but the addition of obviously shade trees, do we know if it meets the standard or?
We have not adopted the new state regs on trees, Ms. McGinnis is busy with COA. Pending that new ordinance,
I would just say that like shade tree, just take a look at the landscape plan and just give their recommendation as to what trees to use.
we have an
Yeah.
old list of trees that are
Right.
scrubby and crappy.
Yeah.
So pretty
Yeah, no.
vernacular. So, we really wanna upgrade to more native New Jersey.
Right, yeah, no,
Oak,
that would
be
be,
better.
character,
that's it, yeah, we definitely.
We're meeting in September, so we'll.
No pears.
You're here.
Pear.
Popular right here.
No,
And
that's it.
I will say that one of my recommendations, is they incorporate additional native species, so. So we're aligned on that. We've already-
Exactly.
Sir good, pear bad.
Understood.
Adrian, you have something?
No.
Alright, well, Dennis, do you have anything right now?
It's related to the plantings. I was looking at Beth's write-up. It seems like they're not compliant though, right? It would require 38 trees and there's only 17 existing and proposed. So that I'm unclear. Are they meeting the requirements for the trees?
That's what
That's what I was asking.
No, there are a handful of landscaping items for relief that I've identified. It's street trees, oh, I'm sorry, they need the street trees. On the parking buffer, they have they require relief as there are areas along the northern side and rear yards of the site that have a very small setback and no plantings, so relief is required for that area, for those two areas. For the parking area plantings, as Dennis had referenced, 17 trees are existing and proposed, however, the parking spaces at 113 spaces require a total of 38 trees. What the applicant had done in regard to the parking area plantings, though, is they, for the purposes of, I think how they address compliance, probably in one of the compliance tables, they separated the existing parking spaces and that is not compliant. And they have 39 altered parking spaces, which require 13 trees for which they are proposing. And so I think the applicant requires relief for the existing conditions of the parking spaces that are unaltered, but they have attempted to move the property towards compliance by providing the trees necessary for this 39 altered spaces.
So how many are they actually short?
It is, let's see. Well, they have 13 trees, 39 are required, so presumably 26.
Would the applicant consider making a donation to the borough to put other trees in other places as the part of?
Is there a tree fund? And
There is a tree fund and you have the choice to.
So if we could have either choice, either plant them at a location you guys don't acceptable, or do contribution, would that be acceptable?
I don't know if we allow you to plant,
Okay.
that's up to the DPW superintendent. Whether or not they'll allow you to plant them in other places, but
Well, you're.
Yeah, I would prefer just the contribution. to
Okay.
the
That's
tree
fine.
fund.
Yeah, we'll accept that.
but
And-
we would like to see, I mean, that's a heat island, so, if there's places to put additional trees. I prefer that as well, just a few would help.
Maybe we'll work somewhere.
Yeah, I believe there were recommendations for some additional landscaping,
Yeah.
which we were gonna. use.
Maybe work with professionals and all with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've agreed to additional plantings near the trash enclosure, the landscape islands on the western side of the building. They've agreed to a row of shrubs along the northern side of the property line, shared with Wendy's. They've agreed to additional native species. They've agreed to add, to shift the location of one of the street trees, which I had recommended. And they had agreed to provide some additional shrubs proximate to the outdoor seating area on the Roosevelt one side. So they have agreed to a number of new trees and new shrubs. I can't say it's gonna bring the site fully into conformance, but it's certainly going to improve the appearance of the site and move it towards conformance in a significant way.
But they can do the donations for.
Yeah.
Or whatever, we'll go back as if this is approved, see if we can put any more trees in, anything that's a deficit, we'll do the tree,
Which is the-
Yeah, to be approved,
Yeah.
Council approved. No, they.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to have our ordinance, so just so you know, I
Okay.
believe it's $900 per tree, so it's probably your best interest.
Yeah.
To see where you can.
Right,
put
no, understood.
trees where here.
Yeah.
Instead
Oh.
of, you know what I'm saying?
Borough is a complete island, and I know both Mayor and myself have driven
Okay.
it and watched the natural growth.
Yeah,
So we're very concerned about that.
so we'll try, obviously, we'll do the best we can to make native species of tree and see how many we'll fit on it.
Sound good?
Okay.
Perfect.
You're on there too.
Dennis raised that and start that conversation, so let's go back to Dennis, see if he has anything else.
Nothing else for me.
Okay, great, Melissa?
I had questions about the plantings, but I think we just pretty much answered all of my questions, so.
Great. Mike?
I'm good.
Okay, sounds great. Anybody else? Mine were covered, I think, under the engineering report, yeah?
Yeah, so one other thing, maybe it's just this, item 16 with the roof leaders.
Right.
You indicated earlier, if you don't have an inclination to want to do drywells on the property, but
Right.
how do you intend to discharge them? They offered an alternate suggestion.
Currently they discharge into underground.
They do.
Conway, yeah.
Where do they go?
We need to confirm, I think it's part of your comment 14, we intended to determine that, that discharge point for those, interested.
And, item 15, what do you intend to do with that inlet's gonna be sitting at the high point? In rearranging the site, you know, they have an inlet, was inlets from the original development, a lot of. I think that was an access point out to 31, that got eliminated when they redid the circle. And in their prior plan, it was an inlet sitting like in this low point in like 2 or 3 parking spaces. In rearranging the parking in this area, it's now gonna be at a high point, so it's not gonna really serve a purpose. And I'm just wondering what if you're gonna leave it, if you're gonna convert it into.
We can review the grading, I mean, right now we're resetting it, I think that curb line does, we do not indicate it here. The elevation that reset, great, but, we'll confirm that that is at a high point, I believe.
It is at a high point, you'll.
We'll adjust later, we'll modify as needed.
I think that covered all the ones that were options to me.
We can patch on it and later we find it in more. Is there anything, anybody got anything else for this witness? Are there any members of the public that have? Right, I have comments or questions for this witness? I don't see anything online. Oh, it's 2:10 o'clock. Yeah, there's no questions online. All right, so that's all.
Sure.
Witness.
Yep, and he'll be here for another question we may have. My next witness is Mr. Chuck Dietz, who's a registered architect.
Council, before we move on, I make a suggestion. We usually stop at 9 for a little break.
Sure.
Can I make this, would it be a good point for us to pause between witnesses? Would that be acceptable?
Yeah,
About 10
sure.
minutes?
Yeah.
Alright, so we're gonna do that. We'll pause the hearing for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Back, and we'll get back to the next witness. Are we removing conversations? Okay.
And then no further notice?
Yeah, we'll do that, thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll start again. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Reconvening after our break, I don't think I have to say all that. Reconvening, could we quickly do the roll call, please, Carla, to make sure everybody's back? For the record, that we know who's here, and who's not.
Mayor Farrell was here, but.
Should be here in 1 second. Let's leave it to the end and.
Okay, Councilwoman Fedora? Here. Mr. Campion?
Here.
Mrs. Griffin?
Yeah.
Ms. Weitzman? Here. Ms. Swingle?
Here.
Mr. Stroh?
Here.
Mr. Schleicher?
Here.
The doctor?
Present.
Ms. Parenka?
Here.
Here.
And Mrs. Arthur, good.
Well, I was, like, how she actually. How
We
about
can
that?
do the announcement.
We can do an announcement. Should we do an announcement at 9? Right. So, what do I need to say?
So for anybody in the audience or online, Bless Wellness, we're going to adjourn that hearing tonight to the board's 2 hearings from now, which is September 16th. Same time, 7 PM, no further notice, will be provided.
So that's the one I was gonna come.
Alright,
That's
I'm gonna be on the 16th
September
of September.
It's gonna be around this time?
Yes, 7 o'clock.
Okay, I'll be here.
Alright, see you.
Nice talking to you.
Alright.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gary, for taking part in the government.
All right, take care, bye. Did they have to notice in the paper?
No, further notice.
So right now, okay.
Yeah. And we will do everything at that point as well. We're not going to have the completeness tonight.
You don't wanna do that
We're
either?
just a public hearing and just keep it clean. That's one meeting. I know that's what we like to do.
Thank you.
All right, so we're back to item 8 with your next witness, please.
Sure. So my last.
Oh,
my-
Alright, just really quick before we start the.
Entered the arena. No, they entered the meeting. Sorry.
Which doors of the tiger?
Sometimes it feels like that.
Right, that's it.
So we have, Mr. Chuck Dietz from Dietz Dietz Partnership, he's the registered architect, that I'd like to be qualified as a expert witness architecture.
Oh, you're down there with painting.
You say,
Down there with painting her picture.
Hello?
Picture.
She's not, there you go.
All right, you're good, Melissa, we got you. Could you spell your name for the record?
I'm gonna give you my legal name, which I signed the drawings on.
Sounds like the one we really need to know.
Charles P. Dietz, Dietz, managing member of the Dietz Partnership LLC, located in Parsippany, New Jersey. I'm a licensed practicing engineer, I shoot myself, architect.
Your dreams.
For the past 37 years, I'm licensed in 14 states other than New Jersey. And my license is in good standing, and I have a bachelor's of architecture from New Jersey Institute of Technology, New Jersey School of Architecture.
I could have the board accept him as an expert in field architecture.
Any other questions?
I have testified before the board many years ago.
Okay, sounds wonderful. We have no questions.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Dietz, could you just, I guess, show the board, I believe, A5, a colored rendering of the facade renovations that were proposed for this retail center?
Yes, this is what
Is it somebody from draft, you want us to bring it up?
It should be, yeah,
it should be on there.
Okay, so this is A5 color rendering of the facade. Dated.
No date. Put today's if you'd like. We printed it fresh today.
Thank you.
Is it on the thumb drive?
Yeah,
I'm just gonna make sure,
should pop up in.
I'm just gonna make sure.
Okay.
You can confirm that what is on the screen. The chair is
correct.
There
you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So if you could, Mr. Dietz, in the narrative, hit a couple of things. One, describe what the facade treatment is, what we're looking at, what the proposed renovations are. Also hit upon the signage and the variances that we're requesting, and then confirm the ADA compliance as well.
Yes, I was hired approximately 2.5 years ago by the applicant. I'm sure everybody's familiar with this project and the disrepair that this building is in as we sit here today. So I certainly had my hands full when I took this job on for the applicant. I think the two major things I'm looking at is this is not just a facade renovation, it's a beautification of a project that's been long overdue for a remodel and cleanup of many issues of just age and wear and tear. The two main features of that is, my mind, is the roof change. It leaks. It's a green standing seam roof. This is a wood truss building. And the green style and color came in probably mid-80s and went till about the mid-90s, and I was just a victim of designing buildings with that. I've spent the next 25 years changing it. So I believe I'm offering a wonderful color. It's classic. It's easy on the eyes. It's called champagne. So that will be the new standing seam roof that'll go on after we take the old green one off, which will hopefully solve many of the leaks that are in the building currently. The second big portion of my architectural was the applicant, which you never see an applicant do this, but based on what the market was dictating and the types of uses we're proposing, is give GLA away. We took about 50% of the building and pulled it back into the stores to allow a 10-foot section under a covered canopy that provide outdoor dining for the types of uses that we think would want to come to this building and this shopping center into your lovely town. So he actually gave up GLA to accommodate uses for specific tenants like restaurants. And after COVID, many boards adopted outdoor dining that didn't have it before. If not, it's been enhanced since COVID. And almost every center I design these days provides some type of outdoor space, seating, dining, whatever, because that seems to be the wave of where we're going. And most municipalities enjoy that. So he gave up GLA to do that. And that, like I said, is about 50%. If you looked at the site plan, you saw the jog in. That's where we cut the building. And then when we're not proposing, most likely restaurants, the facade where it is today is going to stay where it is. What you see in front of you, that's a dominant portion that we changed, are all the brick colonnades across the front. They were the structure that was there to support the truss when the facade was out at that edge. So you can see from the rest of the building, pilasters are against the building. The part that's being recessed, the columns are now exposed. So we're rewrapping those with brick and cultured stone and a stone ward table, all classic materials, traditional materials. I've been in Flemington long enough. I know the history of Flemington. Classic traditional architecture is what Flemington is known for and is all about. So we try to adhere to things like that. A lot of the other things were really just modification and upgrades, the things that were already there. Basically, the signage that you see, the little gables and then the little flat shed roofs that you see dotting across the facade, basically are updates to what's there today. Today, they basically, I think, are all the same size and all the same shape. I didn't want to do that. The challenge we had, and why I didn't just put a big parapet across this, as I said, there's a wood truss roof. I cannot, with my structural engineer, overload these roofs with a snowdrift. If I build these parapets all the way across, it would overload the truss and the building would be in failure. We certainly can't have that. So we relocated some of them where they were and then put some new ones in, and I broke up the style. So you can see the very first one is a sign band with a little classical gable, little round classic, applique in the middle. And the ones that have the gable, I'm proposing a hardy panel like you see in residential, a hardy panel siding for the sign to be mounted on versus the original ones had all stucco or ephes on them. We have classic trim, white trim, and I've done some classical architecture over my career. And cream is a wonderful color. It's a traditional color. And I thought it would go well with this property in the neighborhood with the champagne roof. So I'm proposing the hardy panel. They have a beautiful cream siding that comes pre-finished, so you get a nice warranty. You don't have to go out and paint it every year. And then you move on to the next one. We've got two tenants on that little French mansard, as we'd say, that has basically the same champagne mansard roof on it. And again, that would be a stucco, but we would get the stucco to match the same hardy panel color. And then so on and so forth as you go down the facade. Gable, mansard, gable, mansard, gable, with that color scheme. These signs are also accentuated by, again, a very classical look, a gooseneck light fixture that will shine down on these tenant signs and help illuminate them, as well as illuminating the architectural features that these gables and mansards are housing. And that's consistent throughout. What we did when we got down past where the building is being recessed, the existing brick, because we don't have to touch it, is going to be repainted and reestablished with a new color that will go with the color scheme that we've developed. We're proposing the cultured stone base that's on the new part, all the way across that and around the right side of the building and partially around the left side of the building. And what we're proposing for the rear, after that all gets clean and sealed, then we'll paint that again in a corresponding color to go with the color scheme we have. But nothing new other than some exit doors for the tenants. Nothing new is being proposed other than maybe a disrepair of a downspout or a gutter, and then we'll repaint the entire facade to bring it into the color scheme that we're proposing. The third big item, and I've done this before, and I don't know if anybody's familiar, going down 202 into Raritan Township, Bridgewater Raritan Township. I had done a smaller shopping center where the side of the building faced the main drive in Route 202, not the main facade. We similarly have this, even though this is facing 31, we really wanted to pick up the people coming around the circle to be able to see who the tenants are and what the tenants are. We have a pylon sign, but it's all the way to the north driveway, so you really won't see that as much from 31. So I proposed a mini facade-like pylon using the same features on that facade, which is the 201 square foot sign. And we've given the name of the shopping center, which will be lit by the gooseneck fixtures, and then internally illuminated signs along that facade, which would list the proposed 9 tenants, if in fact we get 9 tenants. We've subdivided it for 9. It could be less. It's not going to be more, but it could be less. So that's what we're proposing. And what I also did is I kind of symmetrically redesigned this parapet wall, and that would go to my testimony about blocking the HVAC units. Again, we can't put a load on these trusses, but they built small platforms in the back, and that's what all the units sat on. We're going to reuse those. We might have to add a few more. But when that original parapet was built, and this parapet, it actually screens all those units because they sit much lower, because the units are on the low end of the gable. They're not up high, they're down low. They're just above the roof line or the gutter line. So this mansard or parapet will help shield from parking lot and good parts of 31 and the circle. You won't see our HVAC. And again, I'm a symmetrical kind of guy. I re-stepped and reshaped this parapet to be more symmetrical, and again, we've introduced the new colors, both below, above. And I think this cultured stone is a classic looking stone, and we did a feature, and I heard you talk about you're gonna have a special meeting, which I should come to, about your wonderful Welcome to Flemington sign across the street, and I won't say anything.
Really?
But that inspired me to say, I think we could do something special here, knowing, and I saw the other one you did, which I never knew, is a Vicario, however you say his name.
That's
he-
Raritan County.
That's right, well, because he bought Paul Profetta's farm that I designed, and he changed the name of it, but I designed that's for
Raritan County.
farm, right, so, okay, but so he put that stuff, so I'm thinking, okay. Let's do that on the building, again, it's a variance. I think we're entitled to a sign on that facade, just not the square footage and having all the tenant names. But for those reasons, that's why we'd like to ask the board to see fit to grant us that variance. I think it's exciting, working with the broker and the applicant on some of the people they're talking to. We have no leases signed, but the activity has been strong, which is always a good sign. Hence, he wanted to come before the board and get this approval so we can take those leases down the line, because no one's gonna sign a lease until you get approval. So I think this is a big step. They have exciting people that actually wanna come to Flemington and would love to be in the shopping center. I think Dynamic did a great job cleaning up, again, not only with the building in disrepair, I believe the site and the surrounding area in the property was in disrepair. So I think between our two firms, I think we've done a strong case to really bring the shopping center back to life, bring in some fresh new tenants, get some ratables for the town, and make it beautiful at the same time. The other signage, which is the facade sign, I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, your facade signage ordinance basically says you're allowed one sign, and then they do cumulative if you have multiple tenants. So each of the signs that I've shown on my drawings as an individual sign, each tenant gets only one facade sign, excluding what's on the circle side, and we're proposing those would be conforming. Where we're not conforming is if you add all those signs up and multiply it times 9, we exceed your overall value of signage allowed. As if this was a single tenant user, and we could have that size sign. We've chosen to break them into 9 smaller signs, one for each tenant along their front entrance. And those single signs meet the ordinance requirements for area, height, and square footage. So I think the 2 sign variances almost have an asterisk next to it. If you gave every tenant one sign, that sign's conforming. You add them all up, it's non-conforming. And then if you choose to want to have the sign on the circle, obviously we know that's a variance, but we think it's a beautification. It's directional in nature. It grabs the attention of people while not distracting them while they're driving along the circle to know what's happening, because this center almost has its back to that part of the circle, right? It faces the wrong way. So it faces Wendy's. So unless we're grabbing everybody out of the Wendy's drive-through, this is the kind of signage we feel is important to both the shopping center success and drawing those types of tenants to come to the shopping center. So really, I think I did a good job. I hope I did a good job for beautifying and bringing classic style materials back to Flemington in a shopping center like this. And I actually have 2 more exhibits I don't really have to testify to, I don't think. But I think one of the requirements, I think maybe the planner asked, what are these materials? What do they really look like? So instead of bringing a sample board, lately, we've been actually grabbing the photos of the product from the website and putting the actual photo of the color, texture of what those are. And those are on my sheet A6 if you want me to mark that. I'm not sure if you saw that. And then we put a finished chart in there that says this is the stone, this is the this is that. And then we actually created another sheet A4, A5, which are the same elevations. All we did was put the finished tags on there that says, okay, here's the pretty picture. This is ST1, this is E1, this is, and this way you can take that and go back to the chart and understand what product it is that balances with what I testified. And then there's a picture to the right of it that says this is what it looks like from the website.
Let's mark.
Are we gonna mark?
Yeah, let's mark it.
So A6 would be the
Materials.
The materials and the color samples.
Samples, and then A7.
Well, it's actually 6, and I think it's 5.
We've done 5 already.
Alright, well, I mean, my sheet, I'm always a problem, because of the art that mine always start with A.
That's no problem, yep. But these were already submitted or did they now?
No, I think we didn't get these in, these are part of the comments.
Okay, all right, so we're gonna mark as A6,
Yeah,
your
A6.
architectural sheet A5.
So
You wanna do it that way, or you wanna do A6 first? Let's go.
So A6 is actually the materials.
Yes, so that should be.
A6 is A6.
Is A6.
Because his.
That never happens.
Wow,
Alright. Also.
you were prepared.
Architectural sheet A6, all right.
And then
Any date on that, A6?
Today's date,
26.
26.
Alright, and then A7 is architectural sheet A4.
A4.
It's kind of A4 and A5, it's R2 elevations, just with the finished tags on them,
Okay, so they're
Guide.
elevations.
with finish denoted on the elevations.
Okay, we'll finish this noted, and today's date as well.
Yes, right.
Are those new drawings from the submissions or are they just updated drawings?
They're just updated with the tags, so the elevations are again.
Are they A4 version 2 or version? We could write that down there, because I, you know what I'm saying?
No, these were in response to the comments, so we added.
So here's the same front elevation,
But with this, like, this HP1 is this part.
Yeah.
but then this same elevation now tells you what the material is. It's brick 1, stucco 1, 2.
And the, what's on the flash drive are these, correct?
Correct, so you should have everything.
Yeah, that's.
Yes,
I guess
So
what
which
has been is
sheet are you
you've
talking about?
updated those sheets or those brand new sheets.
I dated them today.
Updated.
They're
We
updated
updated.
from the original submission.
Correct.
So they did, right, but they are updated versions of those, not brand new.
Correct.
I know what I'm saying.
Alright, now you confuse me, because that's entirely different from what I said. So, okay, so A6 is the materials and color samples.
Correct.
Yes.
It also is referenced as architectural sheet A6
Correct.
with today's date.
Correct.
As a revision date or as an original? date?
Revision.
Okay, the original date was,
Yeah, no, original date is April 17th, 2025, and then last revision date was 8/26/25.
okay, so let's do the same thing for A7. A7 is architectural sheet A4, A5, elevations with the finishes on them. Last updated 8/26/25, but originally dated
4/17/25.
4/17. Okay, thank you.
Yep,
Thanks.
That's all I have.
that's all I have for direct for the architect.
Engaging and interesting testimony, thank you. Go to our professionals on that. Nice.
Yeah, thank you. I have a couple questions. The first question, I'm sorry, I missed what you were, your testimony in regard to the mechanical equipment on top of the roof to the rear. Is it that you can't screen it because of the structural loads?
Correct.
The equipment will remain where it is today?
But this ever submitted? No. So Dynamic was nice enough to put the pictures on a board that I didn't have to do. So he has a sheet 1 dated today that has photos of the existing center. So if you want to mark that,
Okay, that was in the photo report?
They should have been part of that package that was sent.
Okay.
I have a photo report.
They're taken from the photo report.
Okay, so then it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Don't have to mark it.
portion.
Okay. so as you can see from this photo 1,
No, it's not.
Alright, sorry, let's just mark it just to be sure.
So
The photos are a little bit different.
A8, existing conditions photos.
And I don't have that on.
Yeah, I don't think that.
I mean,
So here, just one second, just.
Is there a date on there today?
today's date.
All right, camera. Tuck the other way. I'm moving. Okay.
So photo 1, upper left, shows you the existing parapet, then it shows all the rooftop units sitting on the platform. So you can see they're way lower, 3 to 4 feet below that parapet.
Mhm.
So we're gonna reuse those platforms and maybe add a few more when we put the new tenants in. So my testimony is they'll be screened just like they are today. So unless you're directly behind this project on the backside, yes, you'll see the units, but from the parking lot and most of the street, you will not see these units.
Are you unable to provide screening along the rear of the building because of that structure?
Same reason. Correct. I could not run continuous and let the stop, you'd see through all, you can see how many there are. And we're gonna have at least that many going forward.
But would your testimony also be that they wouldn't protrude above the ridge of the roof, they're going to
Correct.
contain within. Like,
Correct.
Visually, the roof.
And
always
the
be-
parapet, again, that's what I did. I updated this parapet,
Mhm.
played with the height. So with this parapet in place, you won't see them from the circular, that part of 31. They're lower than the roof, so you won't see them from Wendy's side forward.
What about the residents who live behind it?
If they're directly behind, they're gonna look exactly what they're looking at, or they have looked at for the past 20+ years or 30 years.
They don't protrude above, now, so they're like within the.
Also, the residents
view
are
of-
closer to
view of
the
the-
diagonal, I believe it's.
Yeah, they won't see the rear of the building.
Yeah, they're closer to the Wendy's side, so they shouldn't be
They
seeing it
shouldn't
now,
be.
and it's won't affect them.
Again, that was my first inclination, before I knew it was a truss, I'm gonna run a whole new parapet across the front and the back and put my sign in. We got inside, we found out wood truss, structural engineer went, nope, not happening. So we came up with a different design. Hence why the other architect, when he first did it, put those crazy looking doghouse bump ups where he did, or she. When they did whatever the last renovation was, because they knew not to do the same thing.
Another question I have, my next two questions are in regard to some inconsistencies that I had identified. In regard, item 4.1 is in regard to an inconsistency regarding the floor area. And I want to be clear about the indoor space versus the outdoor space, because it could impact parking in the future. I mean, restaurants are based upon seats, but I'd like to have those figures corrected to the extent
The
necessary.
way we measured, I can't speak for dynamic, we measured to the outside face of the wall structurally. So if we took 10 feet away, I pulled my dimensions in and took, as I said, I gave away GLA on the building. I'm not sure if that's what dynamic did, but I only measured to whatever was the solid wall sitting on the ground.
Okay.
So,
You're still under oath, and
yeah, so Chuck's plans is correct, the dynamic plan will be updated to be consistent, the floor area ratio is based on that footprint of the building.
The larger, the accepted,
The total,
so it'll come down, your FAR will come down?
it was all changed, the calculation was correct, but the individual unit tenant labels were not.
Okay.
They were based on the total that's reflected on Chuck's
We
plan.
could collect rent on it, he would, but we can't. so-
Not the interior only, as they should be, so
Okay.
revised plans will reflect that.
Let's if the tenants have use of that space to make it on it, does that have to be included?
No, because it's not part of the building floor area, and then the borough's outdoor dining regulations exclude outdoor seats.
Okay.
So as long as.
They have to come in, right? You get a permit
Yeah,
for outdoor. if they
and that's
choose
actually,
to do it.
yeah,
And
and
we're
that's
gonna
another question.
So we're gonna comply with that section.
Yes.
We did go through with our client, Diana, and the team. We can comply with all the requirements of that outdoor dining section, which what number was it's escaping
It
me.
is,
2629.
Yes.
It's right in front of everybody.
Oh, okay. It's really impressive.
Wow.
Do not be impressed.
yeah, it's a.
That one,
Correct, yeah. So we can comply with that. And then there's also bollards that I believe are
Yes,
in.
we did install decorative but structural bollards. I just did this up at Woodbury, by Woodbury Common. They're decorative in nature, but they have a large steel post filled with concrete that'll go down at least 3 to 4 feet, buried in concrete. And that way, if the car does hit them, they'll have some damage before.
So you'll see it's.
So we'll provide protection to the diners.
Along this, the bollard.
And obviously the bollards are spaced for ADA widths and all that.
Yes.
Correct, yes, but also preventing cars from jumping a curb, correct?
Correct.
Another question I have is, it's item 4.2 in my report, it's about inconsistency. This is in regard to the sign sizes. For example, the north parking lot facing the parking area, parking lot has 396 square feet of facade signs for the architectural plans, but 352 according to the engineering plans. So I'd like to just get some consistency.
Chuck's plans are accurate.
Okay, thank you.
Good job.
That's two.
That's great.
I've done this a couple times.
And then I think those are all the questions I had. I just want to refer back to the board for your consideration about the architecture and the signs, if that's necessary.
Yeah, we're going, the
Yeah.
sign, I'm sure it's gonna come up,
Yeah.
the sign with the board discussion from me. Any other professionals with questions for this witness? Okay. Let's get into signs then. Beth, can you explain for me the detail about if they've got multiple, are they compliant? Because your report says they're not compliant, right? But
Yeah,
to that test, can you explain between you the testimony there for different signage on the parking lot side
sure.
first?
Sure, so, just for the record, the non-compliant is limited to facade signs as opposed to anything in regards to their freestanding
Yeah.
sign. So for their, for the maximum facade, there are several requirements. They are permitted to have 2 signs per tenant, and they comply with that. They have 1 sign per tenant facing the parking lot, and then they have an additional sign, facing, Route 31. So they're compliant with that.
When you say additional, say, facing 31, are you talking about the one we showing on the side of the building?
Yes,
Yeah.
the wall sign, it sort of looks like a freestanding, but it's on the facade.
Yeah.
In terms of the facade area, the ordinance permits up to 100 square feet. And so facing the parking lot, they have 396 square feet. Facing the circle with 31, they have 201 square feet. That 201 is the individual sign with all of the tenants listed. Parking lot is obviously individual signs for each tenant. For their maximum facade length, it's a maximum of facade sign length, it's a maximum of 50% of the frontage of the tenant space. And they do not comply, but it's only facing the parking lot, so it's the length and the size facing the parking lot. In terms of the maximum facade sign height, it's a maximum of 4 feet, and that is non-compliant facing Route 31. So for the parking lot, let me just break that down. For the parking lot, it's the area, it's the length of the signs. And then for facing Route 31 or the circle, it's the height of the sign and it's the area.
So they're not proposing at all a regular post sign in the ground as well?
They are also proposing
Oh, that's
that,
my word.
yeah, it's,
Compliant.
and that is located approximate to the main entrance. So,
That will also list all tenants?
yes, that sign is compliant. It's proposed to provide I think the center name as well as the individual tenants. It's similar in terms of the information provided to the sign on the side of the building, basically.
So, Beth, that one's compliant. The ones facing the parking lot are all just too big on our side. So they're not compliant. The one on the side of the building facing the circle is not allowed at all.
No, it's allowed, it's allowed.
And they're allowed an extra little sign.
Correct.
But not, is it 2.5 times, almost 3 times the size we allow?
Yeah, it's significantly larger than what's permitted in the borough. I would,
And it's gonna be a lit sign?
they're all externally illuminated with the gooseneck fixture shining light upon the building, on the sign itself.
But didn't you give testimony that the one on the?
One on 31 will be
is
internally
illuminated?
I'm sorry.
because it's too cold. Gooseneck would never reach to the bottom.
So the
It has the
one-
goosenecks in
Yeah.
it.
You have
You have goosenecks in.
But just, it's gonna light the name of the shopping center. You can't go 15 feet down.
Thank you, I appreciate
Saying
That makes sense.
the extra one on the building that you want, that's 11 feet long, is going to be internally lit.
Like the fire.
Neon, is it gonna be?
Oh, you won't see the light source.
What's it gonna
There's
be?
no light source. You see the plexi panel face with a routed letter or a vinyl letter and the light source is behind it, but you'll never see. And they're all LED today anyway. But you will never see the light source. It'll just be a glow, just like any freestanding sign or other signs that you see on many of the shopping centers.
So it's like the freestanding sign, but you put it on something.
Basically, same stone, same, yeah.
So
I designed that first and then I did the final.
if somebody sees that from the circle, they have to go all the way around the circle. Again, come down Route 31 north to make the left into the complex, right? They can't go, like if they're coming around, they see it,
Yeah. I don't
and they
think
wanna
they're
go
gonna
in.
pick it up till they decide to get on 31.
No, from the circle, they're coming south from up north on Route 31. Or they're coming in, heading west on Route 202 to the circle, like they were gonna go south. And they see it and they go, oh, I wanna go to that shoe store, they have to go all the way around the circle, right? There's no way in, and then they have to come up Route 31 North to make a left turn into this complex.
If it was somebody in the circle and they could see it, yeah. I was envisioning that it would really be picking up the people that already decided to go on 31 North, so I'd have to look closely at what that U angle is. Once you've decided you're not going to 31 North, what are you gonna pick up?
Both, I think you'll see it from both positions.
Yeah, so if they're in the circle and they can see it, yeah, that's great.
Now, is that any different than seeing the regular compliance sign with all the stores that are in it?
Is
Said it's furthest most point on the site. That you probably won't see from 31 or the circle, because it's the furthest north on our property.
So here, so I just, so this sign, this is our building, that sign would be here, so you have visibility coming from 202 heading in the southern direction. As well as, coming up 202 and north as well, you potentially see it if you're making that movement on the 31.
and where's the monument sign?
And the monument sign is
Jason Wingers.
is towards the north end of the property,
Yeah, right on the first cross.
right, so that visibility really coming from this direction or even here is gonna be pretty limited.
Will you be able to read the facade sign while you're in the circle?
You're right there. It's very-
Or I'm sorry, the freestanding sign, I know, I mean, the freestanding sign.
Probably not with the speed you're going around there. I've done studies with speed and size of letters. That would be challenging.
The real
Yeah.
question is, will we allow this non-compliant sign when people stop complaining about the welcome to Flemington sign?
Try.
Now,
We can make the sign bigger.
Yeah, how,
Okay, so can I, as a dimension, just a curiosity, and you may not have measured this or not, so. One of, going back a little bit, our prior approval of this board for the shops at Flemington, there was for their sign package, there was a substantial conversation. Around how big those freestanding pylon signs would be, the tenant signs would have to be. In order for someone to make a traffic decision, with enough time to So do you have any, just as a reference scale, do you have any? Can you give a rough estimate as to the dimension of the proposed facade circle facing sign relative to what is nearby, I guess, for you, is what I'm asking.
Well, I don't wanna go as small as Raritan did at the town center that I designed. A little EV signs for 500,000 square feet. Let me step back, if I can step back for 1 second, I forgot to testify. This photo 5 on exhibit A8 shows you the existing parapet that actually has signs on it today.
yeah, I was gonna say that, I thought.
What I did is I organized them, not two down low, a giant circle, one over here and one over there. Obviously, your eyes are going, well, where do I wanna be? I've organized them, put them in a vertical fashion, use the architectural materials that I'm proposing for the facade design and put them all in one spot. So you got this giant circle that's probably a 5 or 6 foot diameter. This is pretty big, 2 little ones across the bottom that they took the plates off, and another one that matches this on the other side, so your eye doesn't know what to look at. So I took that, well, they allowed them to have some signage there. I organized it, and then as the shopping center grew to how many tenants we might have, it got a little bigger than my original sketch, because they said we wanna maybe get 9. Again, if you only get 5, we're gonna probably put 5 on there.
9.
Jeff, how precedent setting was the shops, like,
It wasn't precedent setting, it was we had a very long public conversation, because we were. Especially like McDonald's wanted their logo on that sign, even though McDonald's, wasn't on the circle, but people could get to McDonald's through shared easements and And we had a lot of conversation around how tall those pylon signs would be, how big individual tenant signs had to be. Those are also internally eliminated because we wanted to make sure that folks had enough
But it-
time to make a decision on the traffic.
it's also a much larger.
It's a much
parking lot.
larger project.
Much larger.
So it was, I don't wanna use the shops as any sort of precedent, because it's like you're saying, it's a much larger center, and it's also. Several freestanding locations and other signage, and I was just thinking of like.
Yeah.
The visual clutter on the circle of like. That sign versus what this might look like, and maybe you can even just say, did you mention the dimension of what the Circle K is? I know it's not Circle K.
That's at least 5 foot diameter, like the old ShopRite used to be, it might even be a 6 foot diameter.
What you're proposing on that facade is,
Much more, so just how I determined this, I didn't just throw a random number, I backed into it. So we said, okay, 9 tenants. I have books that tell me what the minimum size lettering and color should be for a human being while driving a certain speed can read it. So I worked backwards to say, I want 9 tenant slots or 10 tenant, whatever I drew there. Knowing each panel had to be a minimum size to get a letter that made it worthwhile to even beyond the building. And then adding the name of the center at the top. So that's how I backed it. I didn't arbitrarily say, let's make it 210 square feet. I ended up there knowing each tenant got the same weight, same size, no matter how many square feet they're taking. And, worked backwards and I ended up at 210.
I just see very large.
Which one these? Oh,
Where's facing the parking?
Well, no, we're talking, well, just.
Which one are we talking about?
I was talking about the circle one.
Where's the knife cat? So I see 7 out.
The little Mary's counter or whatever the heck it was the addition.
So.
That's
It's
not in the.
I'm looking at A2 has 8. A5 has 7.
Oh, all right, I've been told we went back down to 8.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
But to answer the mayor, with my asterisk, my individual facade signs on the parking lot are conforming 100%. Your ordinance, they're adding 8 signs and coming up with a number. But if you took each tenant's sign, it's conforming. So they're not too big, in my mind, per your ordinance. But if you add them all up, because we have 8 tenants, and you do the math, then yes, they're non-conforming. And that's how your ordinance,
Your testimony is that if these were 8 freestanding buildings.
they're conforming signs.
So that it's conforming within it.
Correct.
Going back to the one on the 31, if that was a freestanding sign, like, that's the alternate, right? You say the freestanding monument is almost, I wouldn't say useless, but less useful than this one.
For that
In
phase,
terms of, in
correct,
terms of identification.
correct.
If this was a freestanding, it still wouldn't be compliant, right? If we,
Right.
but it's attached to the
Yeah.
building. I was just trying to see if we could rethink in terms of giving that up and having this, if it's more useful for the tenant or anything like that, do you know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, so I think that, so just for reference, the maximum freestanding area is 50 feet.
Yeah, I was
And
doing your list.
they're proposing 200 for the facade sign that has a freestanding appearance. So it is certainly oversized. I mean, I do understand the testimony about there's a significant amount of traffic and potential customers at the circle that will not have an opportunity, that will not be able to read the tenant signs facing the parking lot. They will not be able to read the freestanding sign. I believe that's accurate.
Yeah.
I think what the board needs to weigh is whether or not that is important enough to permit such a significant deviation. And whether or not that generates the need for mitigation. So mitigation in terms of less signage overall for the center to improve the site overall, if you're considering flexibility on the side of the building. In terms of I just want to share a couple points for the facade signs facing the parking lot. The board should take a look at exhibit I'm sorry, that one that's right there. Maybe not A7 if you're, no, I'm sorry,
No,
it's
the
not
architecture
A7.
on A2, which is exhibit A7, right there.
The one that's up,
on the-
it's already up there.
Well, it's up there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know.
That's without the finishing.
Yeah, but if you look, for those that might have the plans in front of them, but if you scroll in, what you see is the word tenant is actually smaller than the size that they are proposing. And it's not that the plans are being are inaccurate.
Allowed,
I'm clear about
not
that.
proposing.
Oh,
Dotted box is what we're allowed, we just didn't
but you're
stretch the
proposing
tenants.
to be able to have signs that would fill the entire box,
And the-
correct?
so the measurement is based on that box.
I understand, but the distinction I wanna make from the board is when you look at those words tenants over each of the storefront. There could be a larger sign there, if you
It
look,
could fill the whole
you
of
could
that.
fill the
Great.
entire, not the whole box of the parapet, but the dash line around the word tenant. So I think the board should take that into account, I would also,
Oh, it is on it, it's quite,
Yeah.
yeah, it's shown on the plan.
But the
yeah.
calculation is for the dotted box.
yeah, and the
So the sign doesn't get any bigger square footage wise, it's just, we don't like to stretch because then it gets
Right.
asymmetric.
Yeah, like,
Kind of not to
And
have
thanks-
letters.
Yeah, the tenant could have 8 letters. Yeah, exactly, something like that.
Yeah,
but thanks for pointing that out, because also then my concern is that's assuming that the tenant would come in with a rectangular
So,
sign. If they came in with something, what then?
So- yes, and one of the other questions I meant to raise was the type of signage proposed on the front, is it proposed that all signs shall be channel letters consistent with what we see here?
yes.
Good, because that's gonna mitigate the size of the sign, because you don't have a big box of.
You have a height restriction, so they can't go above the 4 feet. We didn't even design those mansards to be tall enough.
But you're proposing individual letters, not a.
But if you have one tenant that has 6 words in their name, they still have to fit in that box.
Yes, I just want to be clear, it's always gonna be 6 words with individual letters, as opposed to a single sign panel that's
Correct.
fixed.
I don't like box signs.
If you
Correct.
have corporate logos, that's not coming into this.
I think that is not part of what is being
You're just
proposed.
putting
We're not
their
proposing
name in
that.
your
Yeah.
code, essentially.
Yeah,
And is the same true on the end
Correct.
sign?
Yeah.
You're not allowing their no
Well-
corporate logos.
Some tenants might just want, like Starbucks is a perfect example. We've done things where we've written the word Starbucks and they'll say, no, we want our mermaid instead.
Right.
Because everybody knows the mermaid, so we'll give them the mermaid as long as it falls in the parameter of the square footage in the area. Not here, right,
It'd be on the facade.
correct.
and the
The
freestanding
calculation
potential.
is on the signage at the Staples Plaza,
I'm sorry, what was
the
this
Staples
part?
Plaza, the calculation on the signage, like there. I mean, it's
I don't recall how that, I mean, it would be subject to the same
same
standards.
thing, right? It's the whole whatever, it doesn't matter how many tenants they do, 'cause they've cut buildings and units before.
Mhm.
They recently cut a store into 2 stores.
Mhm.
I know that the Flemington, which is partly in Rare and partly in Flemington. I know that the Flemington department store, which is in Rare Township, they have a lot of signage and they're 40 to 45 miles per hour. And they did the blue on cream and they complied completely with the requirement. And this is, where this building is, it's almost at 0. I mean, people do not do 40 to 45 miles an hour with the signage. So I'm just saying, to me, these letters are, they're, to allow something that's that deviant from what we allow. And say it's because there's 9 tenants and this would be allowed if it was 9 buildings. Well, Staples complies, the Staples shops. And I know in other municipalities that comply, that have a much higher speed limit than this area does.
Absolutely. One thing that the board might wanna talk about is on the side of the building, they have space for 9 tenants, and my assumption is the top one is intended to be an anchor tenant. But it seems like it's gonna be repeated in one of the slots below. That might be an opportunity to easily reduce the size of the sign without having to sacrifice tenant names. I'm not sure that's enough for the board, but it seems like a duplication, it's sort of low hanging
Yeah,
fruit.
look, I'm very grateful that this owner wants to come in and clean up the site, and it's been nice for years. And it is a really nice design, but I don't wanna see it all slocked up with overly large letters that are to scale, almost the same, almost the same size as all the windows and everything, so. And I don't know if it's really necessary with given speeds, as people are coming into the circle or going around the circle. Unless you're driving at 2 o'clock in the morning, right, Justin, you can't do it. You can't do those kinds of, you just don't, if you come to a dead halt. You have to come to a dead halt right in front of the store if you're heading.
Going down 31 South, you have the freestanding sign. Going up 31, you have this big sign on the side.
Right.
Is it necessary?
It's got wheels all the way around the circle, we're stopping all the way around the circle, so having huge oversized letters. Just because you're calculating it based on if this was freestanding buildings versus the fact that this is one building. I think you could easily comply to what our ordinance says on this. You're already complying on the other side, and then to me, it becomes a question of whether we allow an 11-foot sign from the side, you give you that extra visibility or not.
That's the area that they're putting their word tenant in. That's compliant if we consider them individual units, or is that correct or not?
That's their argument,
Yeah.
but,
That's
but then.
Both facades are compliant
But state-
individually.
It's the individual,
Staples-
but there's an overall size,
Right.
limitation of 100 square feet, and that's where the.
And I'm sure the shops comply with that too, and, you're not sure if the shops comply?
Sure, that the individual tenants.
Okay.
I think Jill's experience. I think they're fairly big, and so I don't recall how we talked about that. Because it was a different conversation, because those were internal navigation once you're in the center to find the store, as opposed to someone on the road.
Right, because it's much larger.
Right, it's the center.
So the 100 square feet is compared to their 400 square feet, 396 or 350, no, 396.
Yeah.
Is it 396?
And that's for the facade sign
So we-
facing the parking lot.
So we would, if they
201,
want to
yeah.
produce a quarter of the proposed.
Well,
They can find enough, find the.
So
It's 100 feet per, the way the ordinance lists it is 100 feet per frontage. And so it's 100 feet. This site doesn't work out as cleanly. as-
No, I was
but
gonna
it's-
say, was it,
But it's on 31 and it's on the circle, so if you think about it in that context, it's 100 feet facing the parking lot. And it would be 100 feet facing the circle.
And how many feet do they have facing the parking lot?
And they are proposing 396
Wait,
facing
so
the
they're
parking
4
lot
times the size.
and 200 facing the circle.
yeah. I'm saying it,
Might
if
be
it was,
slightly bigger, but I just.
It's only 4 times because it's a continuous building.
yeah, that's the thing that's getting me stuck, is that
yeah.
if this
You can't
was.
Think of it that way, because these
It-
are conforming,
Mhm.
if
Yeah.
they were individual buildings,
I am-
they're not going.
But then the ordinance should be, and then it could be. this
Yeah.
is the
Well, the
is
ordinance
the
wants
for
a
your-
storage, like this building's not sitting in
No,
the
that's,
middle of
yeah,
Main
a
Street,
lot.
it's sitting on the outside, so.
Yeah.
But
Like what he has
Well,
to
these
check
are
this
the
order.
rules in this zone,
Yeah,
right?
this
So
is
we
for
do
the
have different
HVAC
rules.
Oh, okay, this is still.
But my concern is I'm more willing to deal with the parking lot signs. Because I do feel like they're trying to be conforming in terms of a tenant.
Hmm.
The circle facing building facade is very large, and there's one, their submission drawing here has 9 tenant slots, when if we bring out testimony, it's only gonna be 8, so certainly that could be scaled down, potentially for sure. I do like what they're trying to do in terms of bringing all the signage into one thing, and it's not at all, it's all right. But it's the.
I just don't know how they're really committing to reducing the size.
Yeah.
And if you're coming off of 202 and that's a long. And when you look at the Google view, there's big signs all over that front right now.
No, I am.
But like, there is the clean look to it.
Let me go with, well, that lot as they refer that grey semicircle. What's the maximum on those? They have a similar look to this. And we're gonna put the circle distance. Who's in there? Max Bradshot and
Yes.
before we took that,
Oh,
I'm thinking they're
Going.
that's the maximum is on those down.
That's different, it's not how we retail, I think that's.
Really?
No, it's not TR, it's not.
Just trying to, yeah, trying to compare.
Trying to compare, we have to look at what's before us, we have to look at
Yeah.
that proposal, I mean, it is quite possible. They are trying to maximize, they're trying to be consistent across the board with each tenant. And make the box the max that it could be and ask for that relief, I mean, it's quite possible that they're gonna have people come in that are gonna be less than that. So when you measure, Beth confirmed, you measure the box around the lettering, so if their lettering is smaller. It could conceivably be less than 396 square feet. We don't know, but it could be, you see what I'm saying?
These wouldn't be subject to
Yeah,
individual,
that's it.
individual tenants having to apply for their sign, this is going to be, they're
It's
gonna.
gonna be standard.
Standard.
If you approve
Yeah, that's.
this proposal, they will come in and get a sign permit to construct in accordance with your approval. If you gave an approval that said that each sign for each tenant that came in would have to either be conforming overall, or they'd have to get a variance, and that's something different.
And the board may wanna include conditions about any sign design requirements that are important to you. So channel lettering, if it's consistent coloring, no logos facing the parking lots, something along those lines, but you should think that through, especially in the context of the relief that's being proposed.
But is it all or nothing? Is it 400 feet or 100 feet? There's no, there's nothing in between.
I would recommend that the board identify a square foot that you're comfortable with. If it's not what they proposed, if it's not necessarily 100 feet, it could be 150, 200, 300 feet, whatever the board was
I
comfortable
mean, I
with.
definitely support something bigger than 100 feet, but again, this is a dead stop area. It's a dead stop area. Nobody's doing 40 or 45 miles an hour.
That's true, but my other concern is that because of the orientation of maybe their pylon signs experience, but the tenants 6, 7, and 8, which are towards the interior of the site, the furthest away from 31, it's gonna be harder to see those because they're kind of away from the road. I'm thinking of somebody coming down 31, approaching the circle, southbound into the circle, maybe even in that cutaway lane to 12, right, to go towards
Just
the
need
borough.
to California go back, 'cause that's what they
Then
do. Everybody knows
That's
they work.
that's what I'm saying.
Yep,
Right,
and you
no,
know, the design
that's-
element.
No, you're like that's what I'm worried about,
Yeah.
that being able to see. Like, I'm willing to give a little more grace on that one, but
It's gonna see the kebab sign all the way down. So you
And you know, I appreciate the design element of the sconces, so it makes it difficult. If they didn't have the sconces there, they could bring the height down without sacrificing the size of the lettering. You
Well, that
know,
would
and
be-
bring it down, but, you know, I appreciate the fact that they're putting those sconces, it's a nice design element. It's difficult to.
Comment?
I think the external
Oh,
illumination. will
I'm gonna stop sharing, so Dennis.
I just wanted to comment, I don't have a problem with the parking lot signs, I understand that. The one that faces 31 though, where it's 18 feet high, I think that one needs to be the 100 square feet. That one's huge, and the ones in the parking lot, you know, I don't have a problem with that, but the one facing 31,
What's the
it's huge, and I think it should fit to the 100 square feet.
Anybody who's outside.
I believe it's 11 feet wide.
11 feet wide. Just the sign itself. is
Yeah, we're
11
not counting the
feet.
stone.
But it's 18 feet tall, right?
Correct.
Right. it's
Yeah.
just higher.
Which gets reduced if we take the 910.
A little
I
bit.
don't know what it gets
Correct.
reduced to, but okay.
Correct.
If you pull up Google Maps and you go from 202 over, you see why the sign needs to be there, and it's set back. So, I mean, you could probably cut it, but it makes sense to me.
Seems to be
Um,
almost in proportion.
But yeah, I mean, you can slow down. I don't think you're doing 45 around the circle, but if you're coming from 202 and you're going along that stretch, there's no stop there. You don't have the yield. You got the yield coming in. You already got the people covered southbound, right? Well, yeah, nobody does a circle roundabout, right? Anyways, I mean, Portugal, I have no problems getting around a circle in Portugal, Ilveston, no problems. But yeah, I mean, you've got that covered with the other two, right? So this really covers that 202 around. Yes, granted, it might have to go all the way around the circle and turn around. But it's really for sellability. I mean, this sign could be reduced. But I don't think the height is. I mean, you got 11 feet by 100. I mean, it sounds enormous, but when you pull back the Google map or Google Street View, you're gonna see a proportion, and the Google Street View shows you all the other big signs that were there, that 5 foot. They were pretty big.
What is this gonna, like, part of my concern is if we allow this, are we gonna get a flood of people around that circle coming in? And it's
Well,
gonna,
you always have traffic around the circle. I mean,
Archie, is your question about other variance requests or?
yeah,
Okay.
It's specific to this property.
This is a big precedent.
This is a
Well-
very unique, I'm sorry, this is a really unique property. I don't think there's any other property in this area that is not oriented towards the street. And it has this unique, tier architectural design that sort of, it creates a place for a sign. Additionally, I don't think we have another site whose entrance is so far, and it's not that it's so far away, but the context, the location of it is so different than where this other sign is. So regardless of how the board votes in terms of this sign, whether you grant a variance, I think you can do so feeling comfortable that if anybody tries to point to this and said, well, you know, Circle Plaza got it, so we should get it too. The board will have plenty of ammo to push back and say, that was a very unique situation that doesn't apply to this property, this other property.
But to that point, I know we're not supposed to compare, but the property right next door, Plaza One's ensign on their end cap. On the side. of
Plaza
the-
One, so this is the one.
The orange thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
It's bigger than this one.
So from
Yeah.
historic preservation, when we sat, we made sure that the resolution was very specific to the property. You can never compare one property to the other, because that's the first thing that everybody came in. They said, oh, well, this person over here allowed it, so you're gonna allow it here. No, this is being handled by this property owner, this property and its uniqueness. So what I would propose, if this is allowed, that we make sure we write in the resolution and we describe the uniqueness of the property as such to make sure it's not, doesn't set a precedence.
Both in
Right.
architecture and orientation.
Right, it's two big factors on why I would consider this.
And I would think we're also, this is a adaptive reuse of the building as opposed to a new build too, so I think that also. simplify it.
Hmm.
If I can make one other comment, if you look at the rendering before you, and you look at that, this obviously looks bigger because it's a big blank white. I'm not proposing big blank white plexiglass panels like you normally see. If you look at my rendering, we're doing a very subdued black background and then allowing the tenant to put their colors within that. So it's gonna read very different and not this sparse looking big white box and it stays vacant until you get a tenant. So it's actually gonna look architecturally,
You're talking about this parking lot? sign?
no,
No.
201, 131.
And it's going to be allowed to choose their colours in that one then, because
Sure.
on their parking lot, you said it's all gonna be standardized, so this.
Well,
will be
no, it'll be
multiple-
their colors. So if their sign is red, they're gonna get a red sign.
But is the font going to be restricted like it is in the parking lot?
I hadn't proposed it. I didn't think your ordinance mandated it, so I never
No,
liked
I
to.
just wonder.
Yeah, I don't like to push things like that because then it becomes too monotone. When you just said the center that has the blue and the cream, blue is one of the worst colors you can ever pick for a sign, because you can't read it at night and you can't read it in the day.
And then
What
you
about
choose
the other
do
two compliant signs that can have their logos in their colors?
If it's allowed, we could, but my demand and what I thought your ordinance said is, if I stay within this square footage, this height, and within that box, they can put their logo next to their sign. You know, Starbucks doesn't usually do that. I always use them as an example, because I do a lot of them. They would probably just put either the Starbucks, or they're just gonna put the mermaid. They don't usually put the two together.
And to the chair's point, you said that this is standard, the channel letters with the tenant, that's not what I'm hearing.
Yeah, there's channel letters. They don't, I'm not gonna say, one can't use one font and another person use a different font. As long as it's a channel letter,
But they don't need to use the font at all, if I'm hearing you, they could just put the mermaid. Just the logo, or just the
Well-
logo.
Wait, I'm getting so confused.
That's why I wanna make sure this is clear.
The
'Cause I'm
compliant
different.
sign at the north entrance and the sign along the wall that's completely non-compliant, 11 by 18. You're proposing that they can put in their own colors and their own fonts and whatever.
correct.
The signs that say tenants running along the parking lot, you're now saying they can use whatever fonts they want.
That's what I'm saying, because I don't think your ordinance,
That's what I'm
would
saying.
want that.
No, but I thought they'd already testified that everyone was gonna.
We have the same exact, that's
They,
why I go,
they
that's
specified
how I feel.
that it would all be channel letters,
Channel
they
letters.
didn't specify the font or the color.
right,
It should
And
be
and
consistent.
again, one more thing,
Consistent.
it have to be letters either, because it says they could
Right,
put
that needs to be.
the mermaid.
And I think
They
that's
got
the
it.
purpose of the sign.
That's the end sign.
That's just something else.
Right, same, it needs to be consistent, same color, same,
Just like it is in the rendering.
yep, exactly.
You can't have it in.
you'll have your answer in a
exactly
second.
what you want.
I'm about to be overruled.
So I mean, I think we can read it. I mean, I would like to have flexibility here for, you know, a logo like a Starbucks if they choose to put the mermaid. However, for this one, to clarify, and if we're not clear, I apologize, we will keep it channelized, but same font, same color uniformly through the parking lot.
Yes.
All these 8 tenant signs will be the same. It'll say Starbucks, you know, Cavo or whatever. So
And
that's
is the
good.
freestanding sign going to have the same black background as the side of the building
Yeah.
there? So it's not gonna be completely different.
Yeah,
So
right.
those two are gonna.
Yeah, this and then the monument sign coming out here.
Well, that's
similar.
We just built one like that, it's very classy looking, what drives me crazy, these big signs with all this plexiglass that's white and it's blank and it sits there and it looks bigger than it really is. Black is subdued, you don't see all the lines blur, and then when the color comes in, it pops and looks good, whether it's being a sign or it's blank. That's why I started doing this.
I just wanna raise one issue with the sign on the side, there's just consistency. In the rendering, the center is in individual channel letters affixed to the stone facade. In the drawing that was done, it is a panel sign. And so I think the board, and you guys should be clear on what's
The rendering.
okay. It's always the rendering.
The channel letters, each individually affixed to the, whatever that is.
It's a box, it's plexiglass, just like a sign cabinet on a pylon.
Yeah.
And they'll route the black plexiglass out. And then the color will push through. So it actually won't be sticking off like the facade sign. It's part of that black box. That they route the letters out, internally illuminated. And then if it's a red plexiglass, or we're gonna do all the same, whatever it's gonna be, that's what goes, so it's not a black box and then another sign sticking out further. It's all part of it's being done just like the pylon is being done. The pylon is a big sign cabinet that's internally illuminated. They put plexi in it, whatever color, and then they route the plexi out. Put the colored plexi in of whatever color we're choosing, and that's what you'll see. So you'll see it on the pylon and you'll see it on the Route 31 side, identical. So the only ones that stick out off the facade will be the ones in the parking lot. They
And
will
that
be
will be-
affixed to the background like a
Yeah.
normal sign would be. On a raceway, not on a raceway, and they would be and they're way shorter than 4 feet, they would never come close to projecting 4 feet, which is your ordinance. But these other two signs will be identical, a box internally illuminated, route, the sign guy goes to the sign vendor who built this, gives them his font, and they'll route it out, put the plexiglass face in, beautiful. And when it's empty, you replace the black panel and it's solid black until the next tenant comes.
Given that I'm seeing this visually almost like a freestanding sign, but our freestanding sign, you're happy to have that one at 50 square feet. What was the square footage of this one again? 200?
201.
So I'm just seeing, is there a flexibility there to like?
It's gonna be a little smaller when they take out the night. So
Right.
again, I don't know how much, but.
Then
it's a
my
little smaller.
concern for them, I guess, as well, is how does this, the base comes quite low, honestly, right, compared to other things, compared to other signs we've discussed in the previous. How does that impact I think you said there was quite a lot of street landscaping along that edge. Is that going to affect?
I don't think it's not tall enough to impede view of the sign. I think they had one street tree that was proposed in front of the facade sign, which I'd recommended they shift over and they just to it.
I'm just thinking then that the opportunity to bring the base of it up rather, smaller,
Well,
like
we al-
less tall or.
And we also have in our ordinance. We not have the minimum height off the ground of a pylon sign. Needs to be like 8 feet off the ground or something like that over there.
Minimum.
Yeah, it's
Max heights.
And I think that I wouldn't want, if the goal is to make this thing pseudo like a pylon sign, but attached to the building and it legally being the facade sign, so that it serves that kind of informational purpose.
Because they're allowed to pretend it, so that's
We
my.
would wanna make sure, I would say we would want it to be consistent height off the ground, which I thought was 8 foot over there.
It's actually 0.
Zero?
It's, yeah. Yeah, it's 8 feet for Church Street, 8 feet for 202, but 0 for 12 and 31.
That's weird.
You mean the clearance below the sign, right?
Clearance below the
Yeah,
sign.
yeah, 0.
How does it even be a pylon sign in it too?
Because it doesn't specify, we don't specify
Oh, you just
pylon
pylon
or
and
monument.
There's no
except-
Okay, never mind, I just figured everything.
And just to answer really quick, the pylon is a little bit, almost half the distance to the street as this wall sign, so that's why that didn't have to be
Visually.
overall as large, because it's closer to the roadway than this, and the angle that you're driving, seeing this. These are perpendicular to the driver, the pylon sign. When you come to here, these aren't, they're parallel. So you're always seeing the sign sideways. You're never driving unless you can hold it down circle or 202 that you ever look at the
People on the circle look
perpendicular.
straight at us, yeah.
Then, yeah, right.
People
Whatever
look,
else is-
people at right angles to the other side on the circle, will be looking straight at you.
Correct.
Was your testimony about, you probably said this, but was your testimony about how the facade sign with the black panels with the light and the color shining through, will that apply to the freestanding sign as well? Is it
The
same
freestanding,
sign?
not the facade signs, the ones on 31. The facade signs were gonna be,
Not
one
not
color.
facing the parking lot, I mean the one facing.
yes,
It's the same.
They'll be the
it's
same.
Basically the same sign
correct,
type affixed to different structures.
absolutely.
So they're both consistent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the two signs that look like freestanding signs.
So
one
we're
that
calling them
is-
consistent. Now you know.
Okay, any other like,
Yeah, Mark, I got a question. A monument sign that would be on 31, that's gonna have signs on both sides of the sign or
Correct.
just? So it's on both.
that's 100 square feet, so that's 250s, yeah.
You go there, what's your?
And that's you're just re-rendering that, is that right? Refacing it, that's the actual, you're not building a new one of those, that's just facing what's already there, is that correct?
No, that's a new one. We're taking the old one out and this is basically going relatively in the same.
Does that stone match the sign, the stone on the side?
Yes, as does the brick. Whatever what we've chosen, if we stay that chosen, they'll be all the signs will be bound by these colors, you know, same materials. Same ephes trim at the top.
Oh, and you have the sconces above.
Yep,
So what?
And this
which
one.
will only shine on the Flemington.
For the record, I'm just looking, I'm
No,
gonna
that
put on
one
the screen,
is
this
compliant.
is.
Oh, it's compliant.
sheet
Yep.
3 of what, of the submission.
Thank you.
Three. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Exhibit A3.
So are we saying when we're looking at that one, that we're saying we want to just have eight similarly sized one and to remove the big.
Well, I mean, but yeah, I think that's.
If it's going to be,
8,
Yeah.
I'll change probably the top one and split it, then probably remove the bottom row, which will get you
Right,
8
yeah.
versus 9.
And would you make the same change on the facade sign as well, like the side facade sign then?
right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have, yes, I will shrink
That's
that,
actually-
correct.
So I think this may or may not be acceptable for the board, but I do think the applicant is proposed to get rid of a portion of the sides of the sign facing Route 31 for facing this wall for the excess tenant space. And then the center name is not part of the sign panel. It's gonna be individual letters on the stone, similar to or as shown in the rendering, as opposed to, or actually, and consistent with that.
And we put a box around that as well for you to calculate it.
Yeah, so, you know, it's still well beyond what is permitted, but I think the reduction and the circle or the plaza name being in individual letters rather than part of the sign panel, that'll help mitigate some of the height. Whether that's enough for the board remains to be seen, but I do think you should take that into consideration.
It reads differently than the tenant.
Yeah, it has less visual impact if it's the individual letters rather than part of the larger panel, and you can get a sense from the side of the rendering, it's just, it has less impact, admittedly, I think it's less visible.
I think the
honestly,
clutter
but-
factor from what's there today, we've enhanced that, it's less clutter. Your eye doesn't have to go all over the facade to try to find, and they're all different sizes, all different shapes. I consolidated, made it uniform and tied all the architecture for the facade into my signage, both freestanding and that sign.
How did you
In
come
my
up
mind,
with the
I tried.
11-foot width on the side of the building?
What's that?
How did you come up with the 11-foot width?
Proportionality and knowing each panel had to be a certain width and a certain height, and I gave the same width and height. So again, could I squeeze the stone and make it a little skinnier? It's not gonna change my signage area, because that's all I measured, but the stone could get smaller. I wouldn't wanna change the panel width, because I feel like they're at a minimum already to be visible. And I just thought the stone was so attractive as a feature on that wall. You know, it's an enhancement, they should thank me. Almost, thank me.
That's between you and them, but
I know.
Does anybody else have any things to add to any?
What is gonna be on the freestanding sign?
That's the one we're
What
showing
I've got on
now.
the screen now,
This
Dennis,
is the freestanding one?
yeah, this is the freestanding one, yeah.
And this one meets the requirements, right?
Yeah,
That's.
Okay.
well, that's the testimony, yes.
So the freestanding one is gonna be facing like 31, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I don't get why the wall one needs to be so big then. Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Well, one of the reasons you have a monument sign is to identify where the driveway is to access in. So I think there's a bit of a distinction between the facade sign we have and the actual monument sign.
okay, I think you gave testimony.
Gotcha.
Yeah, does anybody have any other questions for this, anybody on the board? No. Any members of the public have any questions for this witness? I don't see any hands online. No, okay, thank you. Let me put the next
Sure.
witness.
Thanks. My next witness will be the traffic engineer, Mr. Corey Chase from Dynamic Engineering.
Yeah.
Could be more.
Yes.
I actually feel pretty good.
Good evening, everyone. Corey Chase, first name Corey, last name Chase. Principal of the firm Dynamic Traffic, licensed professional engineer in the state of New Jersey and 5 other states. Bachelor's of Science in Civil Engineering from the University of Massachusetts, and I've been qualified as an expert in traffic engineering before over 130 municipalities throughout the state.
I would ask you to be accepted as an expert traffic engineer.
Anybody have any? Thank you.
So, Mr. Chase, could you just mark into the exhibit the traffic report that you prepared, describe in the narrative the sufficiency for circulation, ingress, egress, the number of parking spaces that we're proposing is above the required for the zone, and also just confirm DOT has letter of no interest, I believe.
Yes, certainly.
So, hold on really quickly, so there's a traffic report that we're gonna mark in evidence that was not provided in connection.
I believe it was provided, but just for the record, this is
Jay,
what.
you see that?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, I'm looking at your report, I didn't see a reference to that. Okay.
Yeah, it's on the front, it's the third bullet point.
Ah, there we go. See, it wasn't called the traffic report.
That's good.
It's a little 10 o'clock at night. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No problem. As Jeff mentioned, so we did prepare a parking and circulation assessment. It was dated April 14, 2025. It reviewed the site access, the circulation, and the overall improvements to the site as a result of the redevelopment. I think certainly one of the things that Tori mentioned that's a highlight of this redevelopment is we're providing a much more efficient parking layout adjacent to the northern building facade. Currently, there's some angled parking, one-way circulation. It's very odd adjacent to the actual storefront. So as part of this redevelopment, we are proposing a much more efficient and standardized two-way circulation layout directly adjacent to that northern building facade. Also proposing 90-degree parking, which is much more traditional for commercial development. What that does allow us to do is we actually gain parking stalls over the existing addition. I believe there are approximately 99 parking stalls on site currently. That'll be increased to 113 as a result of the redevelopment. And that does exceed the borough's requirement of 101 parking spaces for the current tenant mix that we have proposed. With consideration of the credit for the 4 electronic vehicle charging stations, that would actually get us to 117 parking stalls provided, but 113 physical stalls will actually be provided. We did, Mr. Troutman, we did receive your review letter, which was dated August 25th, 2025. As he correctly notes in his review letter, the Institute of Transportation Engineers and the New Jersey Department of Transportation, they're going to utilize the overall building square footage as their metric for developing traffic projections. So as Mr. Dietz just mentioned, there is a slight reduction in that overall building square footage. So really the traffic conditions will be comparable to what the prior development had previously generated. And as Mr. Troutman correctly noted, we aren't changing any of the access points to Route 31 or to the ramp from Route 31 southbound to Route 12. And with that slight reduction in building square footage, technically we would not need to go to the New Jersey Department of Transportation for any type of approval. In an abundance of caution, we did submit a letter of no interest request to the department. That was approved. It was dated July 25th, 2025. Ms. Kaczynski, I'd be happy to provide you with a copy of that letter of no interest if you'd like,
Thank you so much.
just for the borough's benefit.
So let's just mark this really quickly. We'll mark this as exhibit A9.
And that confirms that the New Jersey Department of Transportation takes no issue with the redevelopment of the subject property as currently proposed. No new access permitting would be required. We did review the on-site circulation, the overall layout of the existing curb cuts to Route 31 and the ramp to Route 31 South to Route 12. We feel that upon redevelopment of the subject property, it's certainly going to continue to provide safe and efficient access to the subject property. The parking layout, as I mentioned, is certainly going to be enhancement to what was previously there. I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board, Mr. Troutman has. Jeff, if you think I missed anything, but in the interest of time and the current hour, I'd be happy to end my direct testimony with that.
Thank you very much. Alright, professionals.
Yeah, just on comment 5, you'll clarify on the plan what those signs are. I think I saw double posted signs at that one-way section, but they didn't have to do nothing, they were called out.
Yes, certainly, Mr. Troutman, I apologize for not touching on that in my direct, but yeah, we'd be happy to work with your office and clarify that signage and add any additional striping that you may feel is sufficient to reinforce that one-way circulation of the southern building facade.
So
Excellent. Any other professionals have anything for this one? Alright, anybody from the board, let's start with the second first. Yeah.
No, well, I have one question. When you're coming down up Route 31 North, you are, just like you can into Wendy's, you are going to be able to make a left into this shopping center, correct?
That's correct. At that portion of Route 31, there is actually the two-way center left turn lane, so you do have a refuge area to actually make the direct left into the site.
And you have time to get over to that. It doesn't creep up on you right away, right?
No, it's approximately 100 feet of separation between where the circle actually terminates to where the two-way center left turn lane is, so you do have the ability to maneuver.
That's all
No, thank you.
So the exit though is around, there's a separate exit, right? It's one way in, one way out.
So there is a full movement driveway located adjacent to the northern property line, which is solely on Route 31 frontage. And then the ramp from Route 31 southbound to Route 12, there is a right turn exit only driveway.
Okay, so people can get out from the farther one.
The southern access is egress only and it's right turn only.
For the northern one,
The northern
both ways.
The northern one is two-way, that's correct. So adjacent to the northern, which is just south of the Wendy's property, that
Yeah.
is both entering and
So they
exiting.
can, so people can get out of there and get into the circle,
That is
and not
correct.
get trapped.
And not have to take the ramp from 31 south to Route 12.
Was it always like that?
I believe prior to the circle improvements, there was an additional access point, but ever since the circle was improved, this is how the access is been.
Okay. Thank you.
At that point, I know I mentioned. Isn't the adjacent property a no left turn onto that, onto Route 31 North?
Which adjacent one?
Wendy's.
no.
That makes a lot.
No. People that-
Maybe I just see signs where there aren't any there.
Two lane traffic and.
I do, I'm not saying I don't do it, just saying.
Right.
I'm always like, oh, I can go if there's nothing coming, or another way to turn that, anyway. Okay, that's that, yeah,
The Walgreens, you can only do right, yeah. But Wendy's, you're allowed to go.
yeah, 'cause you're too close to.
Yeah, the Walgreens is
Yeah, yeah.
based on the proximity to the traffic light at Church Street.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, do anything more exciting than that. My travelling habits at Wendy's. Nothing.
I'm good.
Just a quick question, one drawing that, I guess showed with the people on it, the rendering of it, with the handicap
A5,
parking.
this one?
Yeah,
This is the
so the
architecture.
handicap part, is that just gonna be like marked on the macadam, or is it like, will there be like sign?
We're required to put signage in front of those here. So by law, we have to actually put the post mounted signage in front of those.
Okay,
meeting
I
spaces.
just, it didn't show it on here, and it looked like the one, this one, that had the bucket, but it would be, so.
We do, Mr. Decent want to take away. from-
She's in India,
It's
she did the
beautiful.
rendering.
Okay.
From
Doesn't know what all
building.
those signs look like.
Al,
Yeah,
Yeah. online, if I got Melissa? Oh, Johnson, sorry, John, I missed you. Went right over you to the screen, sorry.
I was just wondering about just the, briefly describe the, deliveries. I guess the northernmost, and then they would have to exit from the southern.
Yeah, that's correct. So any deliveries would enter through the northern access point, full access driveway. They'll circulate in a counterclockwise manner towards the southern building facade. You can see there's some yellow hatch striping directly adjacent to the southern building facade. There are doors, all employee doors, man doors towards the rear of that, so they do have direct access to load from the rear of the building. They would have to exit onto the ramp to Route 12. Fortunately, there is the circle immediately to the west of that where they could then execute a U-turn and head back towards 202 and 31 if needed.
Thank you.
Okay, Melissa, online, anything?
No questions for this witness.
Okay, thank you. And then Dennis?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
I think that's it. Okay,
So,
any public questions for this witness, actually? Any public? Anybody online? Don't see any hands raised, no hands raised.
So,
That's all for this witness.
my last witness, Mr. Joe Sporone from Dynamic Engineering, will be a professional planner this evening.
Good evening.
You should be all by yourself.
Yeah, Joseph Sperone with Dynamic Engineering, a graduate of Rutgers School of Engineering, professional planner in the state of New Jersey, and have been accepted as an expert in professional planning before various other boards.
And perhaps the board accepts it as a professional planner.
Any questions or comments? No, thank you.
Sporone, could you take us home with the justifications of the variances, and take us through it, please.
Yeah, I'll keep it brief now in the hour tonight. Basically what it's down to, you have the existing nonconformities that they're requesting to carry through. That's between the rear yard and front yard setbacks that are not changing. The maximum floor area ratio, maximum impervious coverage, both of which will be reduced compared to what the existing condition is. So the request is to continue to carry those variances through with this application. The remainder of the variances are in regards to the signage, and I believe it's the accessory structure was the final discussion there on the hot box for the water utility. All in all the variances that are being requested are going towards enhancing, modernizing, revitalizing what is basically an underutilized existing site. The benefit of these being that they go towards improving the aesthetic of the site. The signage is aesthetically pleasing in harmony with the proposed architecture, as was testified by the project architect at length. Promotes clear and safe identification of the site for multiple vantages, so the public can safely navigate to the site. And again, it's done in a tasteful manner, so it's not gaudy. It's tied into the architecture of the building. The accessory structure, whether you consider that a structure or not, it's really utility equivalent to a transformer, any other type of utility structure as that you might see around for public utilities and or private utilities. It's something required by the water company, and it's required to provide a fire service for the site. So there's really no way around that. And the water utility itself is going to want that. They require it actually to be closer to the frontage. As close to the connection to the water main as possible. There's reasons for that, for cross contamination and things of that nature. All that said, I think all this can be approved under the C2 variance flexible criteria. The benefits being the positive criteria purposes of the municipal land use law would be advanced by deviation from the zoning ordinance requirement. For that, I believe you advance purpose A, purpose G, purpose H, purpose I, and purpose M. As far as benefits of the deviation would substantially outweigh any detriment. You have what I just listed. Again, it's all towards beautification and enhancement of the site, serving to provide a better alternative. And goes towards the benefit of the community that it represents a better zoning alternative. It does not necessarily need to be specific to the request for relief, but the overall proposal, which I think testimony from the civil engineer and the architect show that that's been accomplished. With the negative criteria, variance to be granted without substantial detriment to the public good and will not substantially impair intent and purpose of the zone plan. and or ordinance. In this case, first prong, impact on adjacent properties and damage character of the neighborhood. I don't think this could be seen as anything but an enhancement to that existing retail corridor. It's similar to the existing adjacent retail uses. Again, it will be modernized, it'll be enhanced with basically a totally redone architecture. Will look like as much as an existing building can look at, like a new building. And that carries into the site as well, with new landscaping, the paving striping being redone, better circulation, new lighting, LED lighting. So in essence, you have what it's going to look like, for all practical purposes, a new site. But at the same time, you're taking an existing building completely underutilized and bringing it back to life. Second prong, grounds office support variance adequately justified board approval. As was stated, retail service and development use is permitted in the highway retail zone. Proposed development complies with the bulk requirements other than the existing nonconformances that have been requested, and or improves upon the existing nonconformances. So you have side yard or rear front yard setbacks that will remain unchanged. And then again, you have the floor area ratio and pervious coverage are actually being reduced compared to the existing condition. It's in character with the surrounding neighborhood and land use pattern. And it's consistent with the master plan state redevelopment plan, as far as was mentioned, enhancement of the existing utilized commercial building with a mix of uses, including new specialty retail and restaurants, which is I believe language that's directly from one of the goals of the master plan in Flemington. And encourages community and economic development as far as bringing, again, a center that's back to life, hopefully attracting new tenants to the area. All that said, the applicant is consistent with good planning and statutory tests for relief are met, and I believe approval is warranted if the board so chooses to grant it.
And I have nothing further for production. That's the direct testimony for the applicant this evening.
If you want time to do a closing, then we'll do that. Professionals,
I don't have any questions. The applicant's planner indicated that the C variances that are requested. I'm happy to answer any questions, commentary, but I think that he indicated that the variances can be satisfied, the new variances in particular satisfied via the C2 criteria with 5 purposes, and then indicated that he thinks testified that the negative criteria has been met as well.
Okay, on the board then, anybody got any questions for this one? No, nothing to put in my head. Jeff?
No questions.
No questions. Dennis, no, shaking his head. Melissa, any questions for the planner, please?
No.
Okay, so you don't sound too cold, but if you want to, you can. All right. Thank you, Melissa. All right, thank you very much. Public, anybody in the public have a question for this witness? Public hearing after all. I don't see any hands raised anywhere, so I'm gonna say no, thank you.
Thank
Do you
you.
want to make application?
I think, really brief, I think we all know the property, it's dilapidated, it needs reinvigoration. We're proposing something I think that's very aesthetically pleasing, we've given great care to the design. I think we've made a record and with our design commitment to try to work within the boundaries of the Flemington Code, but there are some deviations that we would appreciate your assistance to try and grant the variances, especially for the signage. Namely the signage, and I think that will help us create a wonderful product for this town, something that's gonna be very viable and a long-term asset to the borough. That's all I had to say.
Okay.
I just have one question before they close. The board's gonna deliberate obviously, but one of the things they're gonna have to discuss is whether or not to grant a variance from that side yard setback requirement for the hot box. So if we're gonna do a no closer than, what would you propose?
How far, how close to the retaining wall can we get to? Just 1 minute.
And your
0 feet.
Yeah. Zero feet.
Oh, no, that's.
Got to get around the back, isn't it?
That's right now, yeah.
Yes. We still have to go, right?
So 2. It gives us flexibility because like we all know, when they come out there, they're gonna dictate to us where to put it. We'll do our best, obviously.
Okay.
Not have to come back. It's been lovely and I hope the result positive. I'd rather not come back.
You
with this.
bacteria there.
Yeah, just for this little thing, it would be a bit silly.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank
We're trying to get around the back for maintenance, so we got to.
you. Yeah, right, exactly.
Okay, that it then, we
That's it, yep.
Okay, so, can I get a motion to open up?
No, we can public comment.
Oh, public comment. Before we close the public hearing, that's right.
No.
Anybody been waiting to this point to have
Give me
a
the
public
front
comment?
door. Hi.
Any rounds raised online? I don't see any. Yeah, anybody in the public, in the building, in the room? No, then, can I ask for?
I will move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Allowing it.
We have to call roll on that one, right? Yeah, we call the roll.
We do, that's production.
Yes.
Hey, Mayor Carroll?
Yeah.
Councilwoman Cesar? Yes. Mr. Patton is maybe. Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Weissman? Yes. Ms. Swable?
Yes.
Mr. Schob?
Yes.
Mr. Schleifer?
Yes.
Mr. Eckel?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, you're like,
Thank you. Alright, more discussion time, our favourite part. Other than things we've already brought up and raised, is there anything else to like? I'm gonna go over it.
I just, I mean, I think it's a great site plan. It's really, really nice. It's a huge improvement. I'm so happy that it's getting the attention it needs and deserves. I'm just not sold on the signage. It's not sold on it. I agree with Dennis. I just think it's like so much overkill. I've heard what everybody said up here and I respect everybody's opinion, but like I said, it's a slow zone and I can actually. I don't know, I just am not sold on the signage aspect, how big the letters are in the parking lot and how. I'm actually more comfortable with how huge the sign is on the side of the wall than I am on how big the letters are in the parking lot.
Really?
Mhm.
It's for everybody else.
I know. I know.
Well, that's why we have old people.
I agree, and I don't want to influence anybody, it's just how I feel. I think that's it.
Adrian?
I'm actually getting very comfortable, the sign, what I call the digital sign. Very comfortable, yes, because I'm looking at it from the perspective of that tenant at the very end of that site. Nobody driving by is coming in. They're just not, I don't care how big the letters are for those end units, if we want them to be full, we wanna make sure that we've got people parking there and going in, they need to know they're there.
No, the point, suggestion. Yeah. Schlange? Any thoughts?
I was uncomfortable with the Route 31 sign until Mr. Dietz, explained the composition of it being black and I think it's gonna be very tasteful regardless of the size of it. It's, anything that's not neon, it's good in my.
Exactly, it's not gonna be on.
Good in my book.
Hold up.
Everything else,
Yeah,
everything else, I'm good with.
Okay. So, hey,
My questions have been answered.
Yeah.
I'm happy with it.
right. Anna, you good too?
I'm in agreement as well, yeah. I'm happy that we kind of clarified the parking signage and that we're hoping for it to be uniform and that we're not allowing it to be everybody's logo. I think that will help tie it in a lot more too, and not be so busy with worried for. So yeah, that was my biggest clarification.
Yeah, and I think it's a site that's long overdue for getting fixed, and I think it's great to see. it is a reuse, and something Beth said before that really, that landed with me is this is an adapt, or maybe it was Carol, that this is a reuse, right? This is an adaptive reuse of an existing site that needs to get, and I'd rather, and if they were, if this was new construction, I think I'd feel very differently about the signage, I'd feel very differently about it. It's kind of a blank building as it is, and I think that what the architect was able to do with this kind of variegated tenant signs facing gives some difference to the tenant spaces, gives something to the building that is, you know, it is of a period. It's certainly got that green 80s roof going on. I hear the concerns about the size of the sign, and it does sound like they're gonna be able to bring in the size of the circle facing facade sign because we don't have that ninth tenant, and the consistency between the freestanding sign close on the north end of the property and that I think is a nice design element also. As for the other stuff, you know, the other variants is really just a matter of documenting existing conditions. I appreciate that they're gonna try to that they're gonna work with us on putting more trees in if they can and making contribution if they're unable to, and choosing the right trees that we want to see happen. It is a big parking lot, and to try to get as much green in there to break up that macadam is gonna be helpful, especially that part of town. There's a lot of asphalt over there, so that's certainly gonna be helpful. I agree with Marcia that, you know, it is not a place where you're doing 45. It is a place where traffic is fairly slow. That said, you know, you've got these kind of flat facades and breaking it up. They're breaking up and getting visual interest with some of the sign stuff. And again, the mix between the shopping center sign, which I think is going to be distinct from the tenant signs, which I think is a nice way to do that as well. And the materials are good and appropriate, and use of the brick makes us feel like it's in the borough, and the colors make it feel like it's in the borough, even though we oftentimes have that problem between what's the Main Street Stangle parts of town versus the highway retail. And I think this does, as a gateway, feel like it's pulling it a little elements in there. So I guess all that is said, I appreciate what they're trying to do here. So I'm willing to support the relief they're seeking on the signage, given the totality of all of that, right? If it was just signage by itself, I think we'd be having a different conversation. So I think that for me, that's.
Right, Dennis? Final say?
I'd echo a lot of what people said. For me, the sign, I'm happy to see the building being refurbished. I think it'll be really nice. You know, to me, the freestanding sign is great on 31 going south. The parking lot signs, I think, look really nice. I just think about when you come down 202 and you're going on the circle and you're going around, you're going to face that sign. And I feel that it's too large. And I'm disappointed that the applicant didn't offer to meet the standard for that one. So that's disappointing. But I think the overall project is very good.
Okay, thank you. Melissa, thoughts?
Echoing a lot of what everybody said, I'm very grateful about the willingness of the applicant to work with us with landscaping, with appropriate trees, shrubs, bushes, any type of green stuff that we can put in there because we need it badly. At first, I think the signs, at first glance, when I opened the documents earlier, the signs were extremely overwhelming. But I think it was part because it's been the way it is now for so long, and seeing this whole new concept was just like, wow, but the more we had the discussions, I feel a lot more comfortable with the signs than I was 8 hours ago, 10 hours ago, however many hours it's been.
Quite that long.
Yeah, real time.
Looking at the documents this morning, I get it. Thanks, Melissa. Yeah, I mean, I echo what everybody said, really. We're really pleased to see something happening here. Did I miss Don? I thought I went to.
The only thing I'm gonna say is I'm blending in. No, I'm happy with with everything here. I like the consistency of the signs, certainly from the parking lot standpoint. And as far as the relief they're seeking, I would just make sure that it's clear in the resolution, the uniqueness of this building.
Right.
Make sure that we clearly documented the resolution so that there is no precedent set.
No, that's a good point. We could raise that and we'll make sure it's in like. Like some, I think I'm gonna say, when you first looked at it, it looks too imposing. When after the testimony and you hear, it's almost part of the design element in some ways, and I am pleased that it's going to be controlled by the land. It's not going to be random weird signs in these spots. It's going to have a look, and it's all part of the design, large part of the design, which Jeff said it's improving the overall building. Okay, as long as we make sure we're clear about that. I also want to be clear about the aspects from the engineering reports of that instead of seeking the variance, they agreed to work with Bob and make some changes. That's an absolute must happen. I think the way
to word that is they agreed to do vegetative filter strip,
Yeah.
where I think there was information provided. They're gonna do something
something.
on the site to accommodate the runoff through those two parking lots.
Right.
And if they do that, then they qualify for the higher percentage, but they're already over the higher percentage anyway, but that's a pre-existing.
I just want to be like for resolution compliance, that thing must happen. If that doesn't happen,
Yeah.
We should have sought relief, but for resolution compliance, we'll be watching that kind of closely. If we were caught on that before, that's something I feel strongly about.
And even if they're not being able to put trees in, that's gonna net, putting more bio as part of the stormwater is, I think, a good net also for.
Right.
For standalone something.
Yeah, exactly. And Rob made some really good suggestions on what we could do, and I want to see that happen rather than just. But overall, like everybody else said, the improvements to this site. Look forward to visiting whoever comes in. I hope it gets filled out. I think there's a lot of improvements to the site being made by the proposal, the variance, and the result. But yeah, that's my thoughts. If anybody have any more, otherwise I'll ask Cara to list out for us.
I just wanted to flag, you guys need to make a decision if you want to require any additional cross access. That's the only other.
On the northern side.
So that
Yeah.
and the issue of, are you okay with the 2 feet? No closer than the 2 feet.
Right.
It's fine.
So the cross access, Beth, is something, a possibility for the future. They would still be able to use the parking spots for now, but it would effectively, it's like a drop thing that would allow somebody to come through with it, the road to be realigned between those two plots. Is that?
Did you say you're referencing the grade? Yeah, so to the north towards the Wendy's, the things that would have to occur is I think Wendy's need to be redeveloped. There's a legitimate concern about the fact they've got the drive through there. But yeah, there is a grade change there. So in any redevelopment scenario, if they're gonna implement that cross access, they would have to do some regrading of the side yard setbacks between these two parking lots so that they can connect to properly. To the south side, they have a bigger grade change and I think a smaller area to work with. And so I think any cross access that would be provided south, it would be part of a major redevelopment scenario that might also include this property so that you can match the grade. So the south is admittedly much more difficult.
And is this cross access something that we need to be moving towards, that we are just, it's so nice to allow for?
I think it's something that's nice for municipalities. It helps to keep cars off of the highway. So if you are gonna grab something at this place and go to Wendy's, you don't need to go out on 31 and then back in. You can just cut through the lot. Same thing would apply for folks that are on foot or on bike. Admittedly, you could use the sidewalk in there, but it's more convenient. And it's really just an effort to try to make linkages between the properties more convenient and keep cars off of the streets as least as possible.
We've had cross access of parking lots as a goal in master plan documents for a very long time.
Right, in this case, it does rely on Wendy's not being there, so or something not having a drive-through.
It's a really long, it's
a long shot
It's a
there.
long-term prospect because, this site is being redeveloped. Wendy's might be developed in 2 years, 10 years, or 15 years from now. And at that point, that's when you can ask the question, so, but if you, regardless of whether you decide that you wanna apply it to the north, south, or just keep the west, it's really about a long-term prospect and connecting these properties over years and likely decades.
So
But
that's
if you don't
something-
start now.
So that's something we're going to consider.
I would want it to be a requirement.
Well, it's conditioned upon.
Well, and let's just remember,
Get a
if
condition for this.
it would also require adjacent property owner approval.
That's.
So we could put that in as a condition and we could say something like, should the adjacent property be developed in the future, the applicant's required to approach the property owner to see if this could happen, but short of that, if they say no way.
Yeah, because
No way,
there's.
unless you put it in your master plan,
Which different.
which is a different item.
No, look, they're proposing a place on the western where it could go in the future, and all it is a mark on the plan that if it were to happen in the future, this is the spot that they're saying it's going to happen. I asked the question, they gave testimony, they don't see an automatic spot on the north spot to do that, and they're concerned about the parking, and there is a grade issue, and there is a drive-through issue, so it would be, we may not be able to get that second
Yeah.
cross access on the north side. I mean, at a minimum, the west cross access were to actually happen, could conceivably enable somebody to come off of, Broad Street into this center, which would really, I think, from a safety perspective, have some real advantages for neighborhood businesses, having to not have to navigate the circle. So that makes certain amount of sense. The connection to whatever, what currently is Wendy's is probably less critical for that connectivity.
Yeah.
In my mind, so I'm not, I know I raised the issue, but I'm not as, I'm not willing to gum up the works on this one.
If you want to preserve that actually is potentially happening 10 years from now, 15 years from now, having put something in the deed, because you don't record these maps, and I can see the difficulty they had even trying to find the stuff that was done in 2004, 88 and stuff, so I think put something in it, so somebody doing a survey or something, a title search will see if that's there.
Do we feel like we even?
I'm not comfortable
On this
making,
one.
I personally don't think we should make a requirement on the north side at this
No,
point,
keep
given
the
the
one on the
testimony
west.
skip, but they've already got one on the west, it's already on
We
there.
gained one.
You did.
And that's
We
part and
also-
parcel of, is one of our standard conditions would be that it's approved as shown on the plan. And what's shown on the plan is this proposed potential future cross access.
Yeah.
That's the way we can handle it, and, other language in there.
Okay.
As to how that would be facilitated if it comes to.
Yeah.
And then that would be recorded.
So then the other question you had, Kara, was about the 2 feet for the side yard for the hot box.
Could you just say 0 and leave it up to the utility company?
We could do that too.
Because at the end of the day, it's the utility. I mean, what if they come back and say, well, we need to be 1.5 feet? They're gonna come back because they just took a guess at 2 feet? It's like a gamble. Just throwing it out there. I mean, utility company's not gonna put it at 0 feet.
Listen, the only reason we're addressing it is because it has to be addressed because it's relief that's required by your ordinance. If it wasn't, we wouldn't be, but we certainly can say 0 feet. We don't have to put a measurement in the front yard because that's prohibited entirely. So what we're basically saying is you're allowing it in the front yard. We don't really have to put a location on it. But here, there's a foot requirement, foot side yard requirement. They're not meeting it. So we have to, if we're gonna grant relief, we have to say what extent of the relief is that we're granting, and it could very well be 0.
My concern about 0 is that we're talking about something that is gonna require maintenance and to service the thing.
But I don't think
would require, going onto the adjacent property is, I mean, again, it's not a deal breaker, but. That's why 2 feet seems to make sense to me.
Well, actually, it can't be 0 because there's a wall there, so.
Oh.
That overlaps the property.
Okay, well then there's that.
I mean,
I'm trying
I
to
trust
think,
the
when we
utility.
say wherever they put it. I think we have to put a number in there, again, just because there is a measurement, just to, do it properly, I think we have to put something.
Can we say, like you said, because of that chicken and egg situation, can we say 1 foot or 2 foot? Unless determined that necessary, we can't say that unless we're talking about the authority that puts it in.
Well, it sounds to me like if there's a wall there and we say 1 foot, that covers it. Can't be 0 because the wall's there, so 1 foot
1 foot
should
would
do it.
cover a gap, but give a little bit of flexibility in terms of what they.
And if the borough water department wants more, they'll have to do one.
Well, the thing is, it's in the side yard and we're not, it's not gonna be 15 feet away from the side yard, because that'll run into the building, so, or.
But the island.
Whatever, but, so clearly that's not gonna happen, it's just, we're talking. So, I mean, if it's 1 foot works legally, then.
I think that works.
Well, for
Because
the-
again,
one
they can't
foot,
realistically put it any closer.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just like a number to put in there, it's like the difference between 2 foot and 2.
Alright.
Alright, that sounds good.
Alright, so you wanna hear?
We got a list, Chris, do it again.
Alright, work with me here.
Document.
Compliant with all requirements and recommendations set forth in the board professionals reports. As entered into evidence, except with regard to Mr. Clerico's report. They will not be complying with item 9, they will instead be complying with item 10. And with regard to item 13, they will work with the borough engineer to his satisfaction to comply with the requirements of 13. I guess that's at C3B.
No, C13, C, hang on a second. C13C, 3C.
B.
Big, okay,
Yes,
alright, I think that's,
C3B.
yeah. And with regard to 19, this is another condition, but they will provide detailed proposed above ground structure, which is subject to additional relief. The relief the board will grant will be as outlined in board planner McManus's report. In addition to the following relief, board will grant a relief from the front yard setback prohibition for accessory structures in the front yard to allow for a hot box to be placed there by the water department. And a side yard setback of no closer than 1 foot to the lot line with regard to that same hot box. There's also design waivers that we talked about. Signage, again, we talked about the relief that's required there as outlined in the report. The application is approved as depicted on the plans. Any changes to the plans except as otherwise required by the conditions, the applicant must return to the board. I heard that the lighting, and I wasn't sure if this was noted as any comments, I just wanted to put it in there. They'll replace the heads on the existing lighting so that they're consistent with the new lights. The plans do depict a cross access easement with is that lot 8?
Correct.
Lot 8 to the west of the property. In the event that that does come to fruition, the cross access easement will be prepared to the satisfaction of the board professionals, and it will be recorded on both the subject lot and lot 8. RTMUA approval must be provided. Cross access for now doing. That we talked about, dimensions of the water structure we talked about. The applicant will work with the board planner to her satisfaction to determine exactly what trees will be incorporated into the landscape plan to incorporate some more native tree species. The discharge point for the roof leaders identified in number 16 of the board engineer's letter will be located. That's all right.
Say it again.
You talked about where the roof leaders were.
Oh, we're gonna show where they're indicating they go underground.
Yeah, but you're gonna show that.
They will be on surface to start, so it'll be some sort of underground.
But you're gonna wanna locate that, and show that on the plans. 15. The board engineers report that's with regard to the high point of the catch basin, they'll review and modify the satisfaction of the board engineer. The engineering drawings will be amended as necessary to comport with the information in the architectural drawings with regard to building square footage and signage. The applicant will comply with all outdoor dining requirements of ordinance 2629. All tenant signs facing the parking lot will be channel letters as depicted on A5. No corporate logos will be permitted.
Same color.
Yep, same color and same font. Any changes in that, and they will be affixed to the panel. Any changes to that must come back to the board.
Can we stop for a sec?
Yep.
Are we requiring them all to also all be capitalized or all capitals? In other words, the word famous is one sign for the all caps and somebody else is famous for the capital F and small letters. Sorry, dude. So I think we need to be specific one way or another.
Okay, all same color, all caps and same font.
Okay.
Comply with ADA and handicap parking requirements. And then the rest of our standard conditions.
Okay.
The mention of the landscaping.
Yep.
Adding to the trees on it was not mentioned.
I did, but one of the things I did forget to say, thank you, I said that they work with the board planner to her satisfaction to modify or incorporate some additional native species, but what I also had there was with input from the Shade Tree Commission. So, thank you.
Can you require them to impose a cross-access easement on the neighboring property?
No, but like I said, I'm gonna put in there that if
Is it
that becomes
recorded for the-
available,
On the neighbor.
if it's, they would have to do one to our satisfaction and record it, but it's all dependent upon, and that'll go in there. It'll all dependent upon whether or not they say it's okay.
Something in the title of the adjoining property, because they can't do that.
But they will if they come to an agreement with, because they'd have to come to an agreement with the adjacent property owner. You can't do a cross-access easement with an adjacent property owner without consent from both lot owners. So if they do, then they would record it on both lots. Otherwise, the language will be, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, regardless of that.
I got one. Is that the drawings depict 9 tenant slots on the facade sign in the circle and a freestanding sign on 31. You tested on that there are gonna be 8 tenant slots.
Yep.
So plans will be
Yep.
revised to.
The signage will come down from the 201 proposed, facing Route 31, and presumably from the 50 square feet. Be 50 square feet on the freestanding sign.
Yep.
Well, the freestanding sign is conforming, so that's not the issue.
Does
Take
it,
the other
does it
one.
have to? If I could interrupt?
No.
The other one, the freestanding ones could be a little bit bigger, but I think
Thank
that, I think it's the facade on the circle. That if it's brought down from 200.
It'll be amended to reflect 8 tenants, to proportionately reflect 8 tenants.
But the sign,
then
but I think the distinction is they're gonna shrink
Okay.
the 201
Right, I
down
wanna,
to.
So the height of one of
One
the
end.
section of
Yep.
whatever.
I wanna make sure that that's in there,
Yep.
that'll bring down the height of that facade
Yep.
a little bit.
And also the center sign, the center name on that sign will not be one of the sign panels, it'll be individual letters.
As depicted on A5.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Okay. Got everything?
Yeah.
Everyone happy? Sounds like a law. Alright, we will make a motion for that effect and what Carla said.
I'll move. Second.
We've got Joshua and Schlinger,
Mr. Dosh.
and
Yes.
that would be to grant.
Grant.
Or yes vote is to grant them and no vote is to no. Okay, can we take?
I'm so disappointed.
Let's make that every meeting.
I said that.
I said,
no.
I said yes.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Twice.
Oh my goodness. An hour.
No. Okay. Councilwoman Fasara. Yes. Mr. Campion's off. Ms. Giffen,
Yes.
Ms. Weitzman,
Yes.
Ms. Swingle,
Yes.
Mr. Show.
Yes.
6, 7, 8, and Mr. Ethel.
Yes.
You got 9.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Look forward to keeping you guys surprised to update.
We'll get the
Well,
resolution.
yeah, we'll work together on that. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Look forward to working it down.
Thank you for your speaking.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, always end up with extra.
Do you wanna keep it for?
We have.
We have. Oh, you did right.
Yeah.
Alright, let's go, we got where you.
No, yeah, we can, we've got some items to finish up. Alright. Chair items. I only have one, I just wanted to report on I have one, the ordinance, the consistency report, what's the word I'm looking for? The consistency hearing on the ordinance, the Powers by Council is coming up on the 9th. We'll have a report read from the planner. We will also have, kind of report or, the subcommittee will pull together some possible commentary also, but I also want everyone to think about that when that comes in, so that we can have a good discussion about it on the 9th. Okay? Okay. I'm saying, all right, anybody else have any chair items they want to bring up given the hour? Let's say no. All right, item 10 is bills, they were definitely distributed.
I do, wait, I'm sorry. I have a question for Kara. What happened to work school? You were gonna call them, because they asked for this plan or they. Did they run out?
Oh, didn't I put that on the minutes that I put in? Sorry, I know, because I, in one of the agendas, I confused everybody with saying that they were applying for an extension. They weren't applying for an extension, they were giving us an extension to act for the area.
Yeah.
So that's what I meant.
Yes, there's no other extension request, no
They
other
weren't
update,
requesting,
yeah.
they were allowing more time to act.
Yep.
That's all they were doing with that, so we've got nothing from them,
Okay.
other than that. Item 10 is the bills which were distributed, thanks to our Carla here with the whole packet, I love this whole meeting packet, it's all there, it's all in one page. Otherwise I lose them all over my email stream. Alright, so can I get a, I'm stroke at this point.
Move on to the bills.
Yes, please, that's what I'm. Okay, make the roll, please.
Yes.
Ms. Whiteside. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Ms. Skipper.
Yes.
Ms. Swingle.
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Swinger.
Yes.
Mr. Ethel.
Yes.
Okay.
Excellent, now, item 12. You do want to enter executive.
I will make it very brief. We need a motion to go into executive session to discuss status of litigation involving the Flemington Circle billboard and potential litigation options regarding the same. We will not be making any formal determinations during executive session, and we will or will not return back to public.
I don't see any need to return. I think
Okay,
we should
so we
help
will not
out.
return back to public, so the motion is to close the public session and go into executive session.
Second. Weitzman. Weitzman, second. Weitzman.
Oh my gosh, she's so quiet.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm meeting.
Yes. Councilwoman Sorrow.
Yes.
Ms. Weitzman.
Yes.
Mayor Carroll.
Yes.
Ms. Giffen.
Yes.
Ms. Swingle.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Mr. Swinger.
Yes.
Mr. Dosh.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Ethel.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording and lock the webinar.
Yes.
Yep.